Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottles getting nippy up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated public sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call it truth. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, November 30th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. I'm excited to be back in action with you. I'm looking forward. I'm loving all this focus on NFL, but man, I miss capping all these sports heavy and only getting to share Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with you, hammering all the sports is, I miss it. I fucking miss it. So today's show, NHL, NBA, and NCAA basketball. I'm going to be hosting the NCAA basketball segment myself. So I put some extra time into that segment. I have 4 bets that I will go over for NCAA basketball. NHL, I've made 2 bets, and we'll hammer that hard again, just us. And then we have It's Darryl joining us for NBA. And knowing that he was here, I took a little bit of the pressure off of NBA and focused more on college basketball and NHL. Focused on those 2 spots. And I'm excited. I'm excited to be here with all of you guys. I cherish this opportunity. Danny Lopez in the house. There's Nut Flush Allen coming off great work in NHL as always. Sharks team total over a thing of Butte. Also, he had a monster cash on Luka the Dawn triple-double, but extra triple-double. At least 12 boards, at least 11 assists, at least 25 points, I believe it was. At least something like man. And the cover, it was a huge, huge score. Absolutely beautiful work. Alfred ready to get to work. There's Mike M. Serious business. I always like saying serious business's name because it seems to lock me in because that's what this is serious fucking business, man. The stakes are high and the need for success is paramount, and it's just not fun in games here. We work our asses off. We cash winners, and that's what's all about. And that's why I respect serious business so much. There's a nuke worker fresh off his trip to Vegas. I hope it was great, man. I hope you had a great, great trip. Ryan Mueller ready to go. Coco Bongo says, snow day off. Let's go. Don't get a lot of those. You don't get a lot of those over in Vancouver, Coco Bongo. Enjoy it. Adrian A. said TCU hat only means they cover today. Adrian A., that was going to be one of the games I capped with Dabby Cab. I did cut it because I don't have a bet on it. And I'm only going to give you the games where I have a bet on that game. Dabby Cab and Nick Schnizzle, by the way, with Jeff Slaughter. They're all in San Antonio right now, and they are on their way to Lake Charles, the Golden Nugget. And I went there with Brizzy and Slaughter and Big Show, and it was fucking magic. So, and Jose was there with me. It was so they're all off there today. There's the gas report ready to go. Rob Garvey, Paco Healy, man, he OG lowbagger whom we don't see enough of. What up, Paco, my guy? Bo Jackson, Slatsy says I miss capping NHL doing my record to see reflects that, but 3 small winning days in a row. Do the Leafs dominate tonight? I can't wait to talk NHL. I could spend 4 or 5 hours capping at these NHL games, even though there's 4 of them on the docket. I enjoy it very much. Also, my friends watched Connor Bedard in action last night in Kelowna. Made a stop in Kelowna, the Connor Bedard show. Man, he's fucking magic. He's magic. Gas report. Penny bombs. Rob Garvey says, Troy, New York, making me drive 4 hours from South Jersey for a speeding ticket today. Oh, no, Rob, my man. Well, travel safe. Let's get you there safe. That sucks, buddy. Paco says, sorry, I missed that. Can you drop a link to support channel? What link, Paco Ely? What link can I drop, my man? What link can you drop? Billy Friedrich said, I had to drop $3,000 on my 14-year-old car. So let's get some cash. Yes, let's pay for that. Let's pay for that this week. There's my guy, Fat Wally. Love you. Alex Hills. All right. What link do you so desire, my friend? What link do you so desire? There's Drug Monkey RX, who has now moved into first place in the Pub Sports Radio Cappers contest. He's usurped Jose Bouquet's position for the $8. Oh, you mean it's a $5 a month? $5 a month membership. Yes, Paco, my man. Thank you for that. Yes, my man Jose will drop that in the chat right now. Slatsy says, Marner going for Leafs consecutive point record tonight. I'm going with the shots plus 2.5. Billy Friedrich says the Cappers contest is getting tight. It's fun. All right, let's get to work. On Saturday evening. Okay, well, we'll talk about the Leafs not first. They're not first. But on Saturday evening, I did fade the Leafs with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I got excited about the game, and the Leafs dominated. And I'm not going to make that mistake again. And yet, I don't want them ever without these defensemen. But clearly, it's sharpened them up. But that loss hurt me. I was getting closer to the black. But right now, my record, Jose, will pop up on the screen. 27-31, 46.6%, minus 2.84 units, ROI minus 4.90%, and average line plus 106. There's TJ in the house. And I remember I opened the year 0-7, down 7.77 units. So I'm going to get back. Sky Dragon said I had a miserable week. Screw the Cappers contest. You can get back in it, Sky Dragon. You can get back in it. But let's focus on NHL right now. And I love this 4-game slate. I found it very enjoyable to cap. Buffalo Sabres 9-12-1, 4-5-0 on the road to the Detroit Red Wings, 11-6-4, 7-3-2 at home. We're at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Now, the Sabres are on the first of a back-to-back. They play at home versus the Avalanche tomorrow. So I wasn't certain that Craig Anderson would be in between the pipes. I thought it's possible that Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen could be in between the pipes. They have Craig Anderson in the pipes. Alex Nedeljkovic will be in between the pipes. There's Nasty Nate in the house. Look, my son doesn't like Alex Nedeljkovic either. I told you that when Rod Brindamore got rid of Alex Nedeljkovic, something was wrong with him. He was a finalist for the Vezina Trophy, and he was 23. Something was wrong with them up here if Rob Brindamore doesn't want him. But it looks like he'll be starting. He's been terrible. 2-3-1, 4.01 goals against average, 880 save percentage. TJ says Detroit money line has to be the play here. I'm on it. Well, I took it one step further. I took the Red Wings -1 at plus 119. Let's talk about it. Buffalo power play at 25.6%, penalty killing at 70.4%. Detroit power play at 22.4%, penalty killing at 81%. And Spenny says, I really wish it was Husso and not Nedeljkovic. So do I. And they have a back-to-back coming in 2 nights. I believe it's Saturday, Sunday, might be Friday, Saturday. But they have a back-to-back coming up. And I was surprised that they didn't just want Nedeljkovic there. But they don't, and that's fine. Little E brought his friend Sky. I like it. Little E and Sky ready to get to work with us. Respect. Sweaty Butcher in the house. Viper MB. Yes, even with Nedeljkovic in that. And I'll explain why. First off, back to the issue with Buffalo's special teams is their penalty killing is weak. O'Brien Palmer is having the best betting week of my life, up 5Ks at Thanksgiving. I love that so much, O'Brien. I love reading that. Shout out to our guy O'Brien Palmer, sharing the wealth, getting that cash. Yeah, man, that's dope. That's fucking dope. I love that. And just keep unit size the same. No need to mess with it. If you wanted to move it up, like maximum 5%, but a very, very tiny adjustment to the unit size. You know, it's all about your bankroll. Truly, your bankroll is your ticket to happiness. Doesn't matter what else is going on in your life. You have your bankroll. It has to be a separate account than your family's account. And your bankroll is your ticket to happiness. Nothing will bring you more joy than your bankroll. And you'd think I'd say family, but substitute family with bankroll. Okay. Rocco Rogers said he was looking at Duke as well. Actually, lean first half. Yes, we will talk all about that. We will talk all about that here shortly. But we're going to close with college basketball. We're going to have our guy Darryl joining us here shortly. But let's talk about the Sabres here. The Sabres come in off their second straight loss, a 6-5 in overtime at home to the Lightning on Monday night. So let's just quickly go take a look at the line history here for this one. I don't think we need to take a look at cash flow. Maybe if it piques my interest. It sort of does here because the spread's not very big. Let's move over here. So there's been a 7-cent move since I got in on the Red Wings towards Buffalo. There had been an initial move to the Red Wings, and I believe the announcement of Nedeljkovic is what's probably pushed a few cents towards the Buffalo Sabres. I think this is a great price for the Detroit Red Wings at home, and I don't think the market understands really how good they are. I think they're a good hockey team. This total opened up at 6.5, juiced heavily to the under. It's now juiced heavily to the over, and you can assume that that's another Nedeljkovic situation here. So we could just maybe take a quick look at the cash flow. Not that I'm that interested. We have 1,723 tickets in, 62% of tickets, 61% of cash is on Detroit. You have 67% of tickets, 96% cash on the over. So Sabres coming off their second straight loss, 6-5 in overtime at home to the Lightning on Monday night. They played well. They're a good team at home. Tage Thompson has been excellent. 14 goals, 14 assists, 28 points, 22 games played. He's a +3. He's the real deal. Jeff Skinner playing very well. He's had a couple tough years after signing that monster contract. Alex Tuch, they're both a point a game. The person I'm most impressed with, I'm most impressed with Tage and Rasmus Dahlin, but I'm very impressed with Dylan Cousins, 7th overall pick in 2019 draft out of the Yukon Territories. He's the real deal. I love the way that there's talk about the Sabres getting Chychrun because Pegula, the owner, his son played with Chychrun, and Chychrun's a friend of the family. But they could have drafted Chychrun. He was available for them to draft, and they didn't. But now there's talk. I don't think they should. We know what the Coyotes want for Chychrun, and they basically want 3 first-round draft picks. They want, a guy who was a first-round draft pick that they can play right now. They want an actual first-round draft pick, and they want a recent prospect who was a first-round draft pick. And I don't think that the Sabres should do any of that. But, and there's a big but here, and I want us all to focus on this as the Buffalo Sabres move forward. This is, I think, the biggest betting angle on the Buffalo Sabres, and we must focus solely on it. They have 3 very good young defensemen. All right. The 2018 first overall pick, Rasmus Dahlin, and he's been incredible. 8 goals, 16 assists, 24 points, 21 games played, +10. He's playing 26 minutes and 5 seconds a game. A 22-year-old playing 26 minutes and 5 seconds a game. The 2021 first overall pick, Owen Power, turned 28 days ago, and he's playing 23 minutes and 34 seconds a game. Everything changed for the Sabres when they got back Matthias Samuelsson, 22-year-old. He played 27 minutes against Tampa. And I do not know why Don Granato is doing this. I think that he's making an egregious error here. And you don't hammer these young defensemen into the ground by playing them that much. Why is he doing it? This team is not going to make the playoffs. This is another year of the rebuild. And you're going to beat these great young defensemen into the ground. They're going to struggle at some point, carrying these heavy minutes of clearing the net of men. And when they do, the Sabres are going to start losing, just like they were losing when Matthias Samuelsson was out of the lineup. If any of these 3 defensemen get hurt, they're an automatic fade. And they're going to break down. They're going to get tired. They're playing way too much. Way too much. What's Granato trying to do? Isn't his job safe? Don't need to run these kids into the ground. That is the biggest single angle with the Buffalo Sabres that we watch game in and game out. When are these very young defensemen going to be unable to continue the massive amount of minutes that they're playing? Wild Hound in the house. What up, William? Okay, so Red Wings had their 4-game winning streak snapped in a 4-2 loss at home to the Leafs on Monday. And look, Paco Healy in the house, now a member. Thank you, Paco Healy, my guy. What a great, so much love. O'Brien Palmer, Paco Healy, thank you for giving love back to the channel. It means a ton to me. So, and look, are we starting to already, 20 games in, seeing a glimpse of these young defensemen struggle? Did we see that in the 6-5 overtime loss? because they're playing way too many minutes. They're being counted on for way too much. Owen Power and Dahlin continually going up against the top pair defenseman if Samuelson's not out on the ice. Red Wings had their 4-game winning streak snapped in a 4-2 loss at home to the Leafs on Monday night. Take a closer look at that game. They outshot the Leafs 44-25, despite losing the faceoff battle 28-22. What we've seen from the Maple Leafs, we'll talk more about it in the Maple Leafs game, is they're growing up right in front of our eyes. Those top 4 forwards are playing accountable defensively. They're doing everything. They know that they're weak right now on defense, and they have a 38-year-old Mark Giordano getting paid $800,000 a year, playing 25 minutes a game. The Leafs are just playing as good hockey as I've ever seen them play. That group of spectacular forwards. And I almost said young forwards, but you know that Johnny Tavares is not a young forward. But you know what? Well, we'll get into it in the Toronto game. But the Red Wings outshot them 44-25, despite losing the faceoff battle, so not winning the time of possession war. You have a really good hockey team. And look who's not producing. Tyler Bertuzzi's doing nothing. 8 games played, 1 goal, 3 assists. Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond are off to slow starts in their sophomore seasons, but they'll get rolling. And a side note on Seider and Lucas Raymond, do you know that neither of these 2 young players have ever missed a hockey game, NHL game? And, you could say, well, they're only in their second year. I don't care. That's fucking impressive. They've never missed a game, these 2, and they'll start rolling. Dylan Larkin playing great out there. When Bertuzzi and Seider, look, I've got the Red Wings to make the playoffs. I got their over. To make the playoffs, I got a huge number. Look, I believe in this Detroit hockey team. And I finally don't like what I'm seeing Granato doing, with his young defenseman. You have a Red Wings team that's 7-3-2 at home, coming off a loss, angry. You have a Sabres team that's 4-5-0 on the road. I don't really trust, man. So there you have it. I'm on the Detroit Red Wings -1 at +119. You'd get a slightly better line now. I imagine I got -135 and +180. It's the exact same line that I have is available right now. Wine Time Sports in the house. Welcome. All right, let's move on to game 2. 7 p.m. Eastern, New York Rangers at the Ottawa Senators. Rangers are just 10-9-4. They're 6-4-1 on the road. Ottawa Senators 8-12-1, 5-6-0 at home at Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa, Ontario. I have Igor Shesterkin going up against Cam Talbot. Shesterkin 10-4-3, 2.58 goals against average, .913 save percentage, 1 shutout. He needs to play better, but the team in front of him has to as well. Cam Talbot 3-5-0, 2.51 goals against average, .919 save percentage, no shutouts. Rangers power play at 21.3%. I expect better, but their penalty killing is strong at 82.6%. Ottawa power play at 24.7%, and their penalty killing strong at 77.1%. Wow. Pub members jackets. I'm interested. I'm immediately interested. And I'm right with Dave here. I'm right with Dave on the Rangers sends under. I moved on it under 6.5 at -115. Let's take a look at the line history and then discuss the cash here quickly. We had an initial move to the Rangers. It's come back. So the Rangers opened up -120. They got up to -128. They got down to -118. They're back at -120. From a total standpoint, the 6.5 opened up -17. There's actually been a 7. Well, there has been no move since I got in on it, but since 5:18 last night, there's been a 7-cent move to the over. The over was plus money. So the Rangers coming off their 3rd straight loss, 5-3 at home to the upstart Devils. And the Rangers are the key to this bet. Spenny Pennybombs wants the Rangers here. They're the key to the bet. The Rangers will get right. They have so much skill and depth. But there are problems here. There are problems. Trocheck hasn't figured out Panarin yet. Artemi Panarin is a -9. Trocheck is a -8. That will change, and it has to if this team wants to succeed. Philip Heedle's return from injury has sparked Alexis Lafreniere, and that's important. You need to have the depth scoring, so they're starting to get it. This is the beginning of a home and home with the Senators, which is another nice piece for us. We get to cap this again on Friday in New York. The Senators finished off their California road trip with a 5-1 win at Anaheim before a 3-2 overtime win at Los Angeles. They opened it by being outscored 9-2 in losses at San Jose and Vegas. We remember that game on Friday. Bobano and I discussed it for a long time. He'd moved on the Ducks, and the market was, after the Senators had lost by a combined 9-2, was hammering the Senators on the road. Why was that? Now, looking back, we know it was because Shabbat, the 2015 first-round pick, returned to the lineup. And it's no coincidence that they started winning as soon as he did. This was a really weak defense with some really nice pieces at forward. And they needed Shabbat badly. Slatsy says, never thought he'd see the day betting on Nedeljkovic. Yes. I think the Red Wings are buy on, and I love what I saw in the Leafs game. And I really think that I might be taking this amount of time those young defensemen for the Sabres are playing right now, but I think we saw a glimpse of it. I think we saw a glimpse of it in that 6-5 overtime loss. Okay, so Shabbat has returned and Cam Talbot has returned. Talk about solidifying their weak back end. There's going to be value now backing the Senators in certain situations. I don't want to do it against a Rangers team that's lost 3 straight. But the Rangers have been very vulnerable defensively. And I think that Gerard Gallant beats it into this Rangers squad that this is a business trip. We're going up to Ottawa, and we're going to play the tightest defense we've played all year. And we're going to come home with a win. They're going to play tight defense. And look, I don't really want a road favorite in this situation. A road favorite that's lost 3 in a row. Now, I get it. If you gave me a free side bet, sure. Sure, I take the Rangers. Sure. But with the way the Senators' season has been extremely difficult, they're coming off 2 big wins to get some confidence. They have Shabbat back. They have Cam Talbot back. Now, Drake Batherson is a problem. He does nice work offensively and on the power play, but he's a -15 in 21 games played. Nobody else on the team is worse than a -7. Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle are spectacular pieces to build around. I love them both very much, and I have them both in my hockey pool. And look at that, Samsonov starting for the Leafs tonight. Wow. Billy Friedrich looking at Sens first period, Rangers full game. Slatsy saying Shesterkin really beat himself up about how bad he's been playing. Says he has to be better. He apologized to his teammates. He's on the under and leans Rangers. I'm on the under. I truly think I love Gerard Gallant as a coach. And I think that he's all seriousness because you know what's going to happen? So the Rangers have won 10 of 23 games in regulation. He's going to get fired. He'll get fired. I bet you they give him till January 1st. And if he doesn't turn this ship around with all of the confidence everybody had in the Rangers, he is going to get fired. And I don't think he'll get fired. I think he's a good team, and I think he's a good coach, and I think that teams go through these difficult stretches at the beginning of the year. They can come out of it stronger. So I'm on the under 6.5, -115. See if that has changed at all here. And the key to this is the Rangers. This is a business trip. And now you have Shabbat, who is an offensive-minded defenseman, but he still helps the defense immensely. And you have Talbot. And look what Forsberg did with his chance to be the number 1 goaltender. He did squad-ass zilch with it. So I've got bets on the first 2 games. I'm on the Red Wings -1 at +119. I'm on the under 6.5 -115. Okay. Let's go into 7 p.m. Eastern. San Jose Sharks 8-13-4, 6-5-0 on the road. Toronto Maple Leafs 14-5-5, 7-2-3 at home. Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario. Aaron Dell is a pretty fascinating guy. He's a bad goalie, but he's loved in the dressing room, loved by his teammates, and so he keeps getting opportunities. There are certain spots where Aaron Dell actually steps up, and it's in these sort of situations. Now, I don't want to sit here and bet on Aaron Dell. And look at Slatsy. He says, if Aaron Dell starts tonight, I will hammer the Leafs tonight. When Aaron Dell is the starting, when the injuries come up and Aaron Dell has to be the starting goaltender for a little while, by game 2 or game 3, he falls apart. But he's a very high character guy. And he's now probably getting his last ever opportunity to be in net in Toronto at Scotiabank Arena. And these are the types of situations where he has stepped up in the past. I have had, like Slatsy, enormous success fading Aaron Dell. But I also know when Aaron Dell is sort of set up. He's been with the San Jose Barracuda this year, 3.22 goals against average, 904 save percentage. He was very bad last year with the Sabres. 1-8-1, 4.03 goals against average, 893 save percentage. Sharks are on the back-to-back. We'll get into that. But Aaron Dell is the most important piece to me. And now we know that Samsonov will be in net. And that adds a fascinating angle here that I wasn't expecting. So let's just do this here. Let's just go through a quick, just to kind of prove a point. And I haven't done this yet, so this is all vividness for me in my head. But let's take Aaron Dell here. Let's take Aaron Dell. Not going to be easy to find the man. How about this? We'll go to Aaron Dell. He hasn't played yet in the NHL this year, so he's not listed in their goalies. Aaron Dell, ESPN. Okay, let's do this. Here we go. Aaron Dell. And then let's go through his game log. Let's go through his game log. Here we go. All right. So he played in 9 games. I'd love to see the games he started. He faced the very first game he faced last year was at home versus Toronto, and they put 5 goals on him. At home, oh no, that's not a good one. Where? I guess if we go through this, there's not a ton of them. He had some good performances. He allowed 1 goal against Nashville at Nashville. But that Nashville was the very first start after he'd been in the minors. He comes up and he delivers in that first start. I guess that must be some sort of a vividness bias for me, is that first start. Let's go back to 2020, 2021. In his first start coming up in 2020, 21, after he'd spent the year in the minors, he went into Washington. I'll have 4 goals there. Then he went back to the minors. He came back against the Islanders at home, and he allowed 2 goals. I guess I don't have a lot of proof of what I was saying. I guess I don't. Slatsy says, keep looking. But I think that this isn't the spot for me to fade Aaron Dell. This is the spot. And look, we have Marner on the scoring streak. We'll talk about that right now. Toronto power play at 25%, penalty killing at 79.2%. San Jose power play at 19.7%, penalty killing at 91.2%. San Jose's penalty killing is the best in the league. Sharks are on the second half of a back-to-back after stamping their 3-game losing streak with a 4-0 win at Montreal last night. Capo Kakinen got his first shutout as a Shark. Reimer's hurt. That's why Aaron Dell is here. Logan Couture off to a great start this year. They're strong down the middle with Hertl and Couture. Nico Sturm is hurt right now, so they're playing a ton. And look, Mitch Marner has been absolutely spectacular. 17-game point streak, showing his class. These young forwards are playing better than I've ever seen them play. And of course, with all these injured defensemen, the Leafs are so lucky that they have Norris Trophy winner, former Norris Trophy winner Mark Giordano on the back end. He's getting paid $800,000 a year, 38 years old, and he's played over 20 minutes in 9 straight games. He's averaging over 23 minutes on this 4-game winning streak. So, with all that being said, I don't want anything to do with Samsonov. I think that Samsonov could be vulnerable here. I think he could be vulnerable here in his first game back when he's watched Matthew Murray take his job, which we thought was going to be his. Let's take a look at this total. The total, yes, it moved from 6, but it initially went down to 6. Interesting. It opened at 6.5. So there's only been a 5-cent move to the under 6.5 since it opened, but we've seen 6 a few times. I do not want I do not want Toronto this price without their defenseman. I don't want to sit back and expect goals from Toronto. And these Sharks are going to fight for Arundel and play clean hockey. I think Samsonov is not to be trusted. So I guess with knowing that Samsonov is in goal, the only thing you could do is take an over. Bo Jackson looking at Sharks money line. That's big balls, Bo. Big balls. All right. And Slatsy on Marner points are 1.5 at all books, so he's hitting the shots at 2.5, shooting a lot more. I like it, Bo. I like it. I'm off of it, though, but I like the idea of fading Samsonov. Fading Samsonov with a dog. Let's just see what the Sharks team total would be. Even though we're watching the Leafs play really clean hockey. How long could it last? Over 2.5 at plus 110 against Samsonov. I like that. I like that. This is my first addition to my card. Sharks over 2.5 at plus 110. Billy Friedrich has even money. I got it at plus 110. I like that look. I'm in. I'm gonna fade Samsonov here and fade the issues with the Maple Leafs back end. I like it. I like the plus money. I like it. All right, let's move on. Final spot on the board at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Edmonton Oilers 12-10-0, 6-4-0 on the road at Chicago Blackhawks 6-11-4, 4-6-2 at home. United Center in Chicago, Illinois. I don't know if it'll be Jack Campbell or Stuart Skinner. Skinner played the last game, and Campbell played the one before. They've been two very interesting wins where the Oilers have shown enormous amount of heart. They're coming off a 4-3 overtime victory at home over the Panthers, but the game that came prior was a 3-0 deficit. They were down 3-0 at Madison Square Garden, and they scored 4 goals in the third period to win 4-3. And they've all talked about building off of that momentum. All talked about it. So let's take a look at the line history in this game. First off, I was surprised that the total had moved from 6.5 to 6. Oh, it's back at 6.5. And Pinnacle never moved it. Oh, yes, they did. They moved it at 10:24 this morning. It was at 6 at Bet365, and I was astonished. Now it's come back to 6. And see, it's still there. It's at 6 at minus 120 to the over. That surprises me. That made me think that I'm missing something. And if I'm missing something, I should probably stay off. But Pinnacle's moved it back to 6.5. I bet you I would need to bet it now to get that 6. Both penalty kills are weak. Edmonton at 73.3%, Chicago at 72.6%. And both power plays are strong. Edmonton at 28.8%, Chicago 21.9%. Peter Mrazek, he's listed in net. If he's in net, I mean, he's just atrocious. And Skinner and Campbell, I know that Skinner has much better numbers thus far, but they're both weak goaltenders in my estimation. McDavid and Draisaitl are simply brilliant, and Nuge and Hyman are playing very well. The Blackhawks coming up their 7th straight loss, 7-2 at home to Winnipeg. Winnipeg outshot them 44-23. Kane and Taves don't have depth. TJ says Chicago scored less than 2 goals a game over their last 12, so I guess that's it. I thought it was fascinating that the total went to 6. And I think TJ nailed it, that I've got a vividness bias of these Blackhawks being able to score, and they can't anymore. TJ says, if you think it's an over, the safer place, Edmonton puck line. I can't back Edmonton with their lack of depth, although I've been impressed with those last 2 starts. And I certainly don't want Edmonton on the road at this price, although minus 1.5, you're getting plus 110. I've thought this year that there's no value in fading the Blackhawks at home. They've lost half their home games in regulation. And I'll probably stick to that with an Oilers team without a ton of depth. Mike Xavier coming in with a parlay. Thank you for sharing that with us, Mike. NBA parlay. Let's get into NBA right now. Let me review action here for the NHL card. All 4 games in the books there. So I'm on the Red Wings -1 at plus 119. I am on the under 6.5 at minus 115 in Rangers Senators. And I've moved on the Sharks team total over 2.5 at plus 110. Billy Friedrich saying last 10, Chicago 5-5 to the full game over, Edmonton 6-4 to the over. The fact that the initial move was towards the under meant that I was missing something. And I don't know what. And then TJ pointed it out. the Sharks are scoring less than 2 goals a game over the last 12. So then you'd need 5 goals from the Oilers. And if you need 5 goals from the Oilers, why not take the -1.5? I think that all makes sense. And you picked out what I was missing. There is NHL. There is NHL. Let's move on to NBA. We are taking baby steps. You know, the record got pretty gross there. It's pretty ugly, down 14 units. We're now 31-36, 46.3%, down 8.55 units. It was a solid winning week last week. And, you know, I remind you guys, it's mostly for me to hear. But I remind you guys that, you know, I went down 23 units last year in NBA before finishing the year up just under 18. That's a big 40-unit flip. I believe in my NBA capping, and I really believe in the guests that we have on this show. Shout out to our guy, Know Something. Said he watched greatness last night. Wow. And says, thanks for putting me on NHL. That was a wild game. 9-8 final score. 9-8 in overtime. I mean, even Nutflush was like, how did they throw 5.5 on the total on this? Wow. I love it. Know Something. Thank you so much for the dono. Thank you for thinking of us, my friend. It's really great to be back in action with you guys. And thank you for supporting our channel here. It means a ton. Let's move on and bring on your next guest, coming off a successful Wednesday last week with us. And he is joining us from Los Angeles, California. He had spectacular numbers last year. I went over them, and I'm going to bring them up again. But I have gone over them because he got off to a really tough start here this year, and I knew that he would get out of it, and I was certain of it because I had this proof. And even last year, he got off to somewhat of a tough start, and then he caught absolute fire. But just so we all remember, this man who was completely transparent about his struggles early in the season. Last year on the show went 104 wins and 78 losses, plus 21.69 units, with an ROI of plus 11.92% and an average line of minus 103. Please welcome from Los Angeles, California, Darryl Rice in the house. What up, Darryl? You're muted, my guy. We need to hear you. I love the opening. I need to hear it.
Yo. How are you, man? I'm happy to be here. How was your turkey day, Jimmy?
I was here with I was on live stream for about 10 and a half hours here.
Yeah.
We have a different day in Canada, so I just celebrated by getting heavily intoxicated and hammering all the football games with our Pub Sports.
Wait a minute. Whoa. What? So I'm totally ignorant to Canadian holidays, but what is it in Canada?
It's in October. All right, Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, Thanksgiving's in October. We have nothing to be thankful for in November. It's a cold country up here.
Are you shitting me?
Oh, it's very cold up here, Darryl. It's
No. You're really, you celebrate Thanksgiving in October?
Yes, we do. We're proud of it. Very proud.
What about Halloween?
Halloween's at the end of October, after Thanksgiving.
Oh,
a lot of people dress as turkeys too.
It's
big thing up here.
This is fucking insane, bro. Peace and shout out, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to you, Jimmy. As I always say, any day on this side of the grass is a good fucking day. Pretty good week last week. Did go 0-2 these past few days. Still starting out slow, man, but starting to see the board. I'm starting to see the board. And I think pretty soon here, I'm going to be ramping up on these bets. I am excited about today. It's a lot of games, but I'll tell you right now, man, some of this shit looks like a trap, Jay. It does. So let's get into it. Before we start, man, I wanted to send a special shout out to Nutflush. I know he had some things happening, but that guy is so positive, man, and I just want him to know he was in my prayers. Send out some affirmations to him because I'll light candles and incense in a fucking minute. So I did that, And to everybody in the chat, man, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for keeping me on my toes. Now let's get to work.
Let's get to work. And wonderfully said. We care about Nut Flush very much. So wonderfully said. Now, I put extra attention into making sure that I had some NCAA action that we could talk about after this segment, which means that I didn't put as much focus because I knew we had you coming on. So
Yeah.
I have the injuries up and things like that, but I'm going to be leaning on you heavy here for this big card. I will set the table and hand it over to Darryl Rice. Let's get to work. We start 7 p.m. Eastern. Philadelphia 76ers 12-9, 5-4 on the road at the Cleveland Cavaliers 13-8, 8-1 at home. We're at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. Philadelphia over the past 5, 4-1, playing at a pace at 96.70 possessions a game. Cleveland 3-2, now playing at one of the slowest paces we've seen over the past 5 years. 93.90 possessions a game. Sixers come in off their third straight win, 104-101 at home to Atlanta on Monday. The Cavs come in off their second loss in 3 games, 188 at the Raptors on Monday. That really, really pumped up all the Raptors fans with what we did to those Cavaliers.
That was brutal.
Let's take a look at the line history here. Cleveland opening up at -3.5 at -105. They did get to 3. So there was a bit of movement towards the Sixers, and it was the first movement. So this came out yesterday at 4:37 p.m., -3.5 for the pick'em. And then 15 minutes later, it moved to 3, and it stayed at 3 till about 6 o'clock at night when it came back to the 3.5. So the early money was on the Sixers. From a total standpoint, opened up at 211. It's been bouncing back and forth. It got up as high as 212.5. It's back at 210.5. I'm shocked that it's so high, in all honesty. I know that we've been seeing much higher totals, but teams playing at this pace don't deserve a total this high. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one before we hand it over to Darryl. 6,945 tickets in, 71% of the tickets, 78% of the cash on the Sixers. Then we have 29% of the tickets and 84% of the cash on the under. It's screaming at me to bet the under. Darryl, take it away. Sixers, Cavs at Rocket Mortgage.
So I'm seeing this just on the analytics site that I use. Home by 2.18, total at 218.
Wow.
Right? Cleveland's 8-1 at home, man. And I'm actually scared of this game. I'm scared of this game. And the reason why is because you haven't seen solid movement with this line at all. You would think it would either go up again and stay there, go up a little more, stay there, or just come down. And maybe it's because it's too early. What I believe is, looking at that injury report, and you don't have Jared Allen in there, and you do have Joel Embiid back to work, this should be a Philly spot. It should be a Philly spot, right? To where they should be able to win this game. Cleveland has been pretty damn good first half, first quarter. They're actually better than Philly. The problem is they just tricked that shit off, man, these last 3 games, to where they've lost first quarters and first halves. I could see Toronto. We've talked about how lengthy Toronto is, right? I can't really see Detroit, and I could, in some cases, see Milwaukee. So I'm afraid of this game. I'm not going to lie, man. I'm afraid of this game. I don't think that Cleveland's going to win this game. Looking at their numbers, just in comparison, they're pretty similar. They're pretty similar across the board. So if you are Philly, I'm not mad at you here. If you are Cleveland, I'm a little more afraid here. But you can't discount that record. I just think they're missing a pivotal piece for them. If they had Allen available, I would stick to Cleveland and take the Cleveland and lay those points. But I can't in this case, so I left it alone altogether.
Isaac Okoro and Dean Wade in the starting lineup with no Jared Allen. The Cavs are even having more of a difficult time scoring. Now you have Embiid in the paint.
Did you just call him Impede?
Well, I was thinking impede. as well, because you have this block in the paint that will impede these these Cavs. Do you think that? I think this total is too high. I think this total is too high.
Yeah, well, you would think they're going to turn it around, right? I was looking at their numbers. Last three, Cleveland just sucks, bro. They suck in the first quarter. They suck in the first half. They're ranked number 10 right now, but in their last three, they've been averaging 24.7 in the first quarter, while Philly has gone up to 27. And that's coming off a number of 28.2 because their last one was at 23. So you're right there. These numbers are going down. You're expecting one team to do 107 and the other team do 105, something like that. I don't know. The totals always scare me. They always scare me. But I do think Embiid should actually get up and feast here, right? You do have Mobley. That's cool. But it's just one of these things to where I don't want to play. I like everybody to be in here. And so because Cleveland's not at full strength, even Love, right? It seems like they've kind of taken a turn since they couldn't really use him the way they wanted to for spacing. But yeah, if you don't have a favorite here, just stay off this game altogether, because this line it's scary to me, to be honest with you. For a team to be so dominant at home over the season, and you're laying 3.5. I don't want to play it.
I am interested in the under.
Well, you're better than totals than I am.
I'm very interested in the under. In what games, if you look at I guess at home against Atlanta went over this low number, because we're talking about a very low number at 210.5.
Mm-hmm.
But their games in Detroit and Toronto didn't go over this number. At Milwaukee, it went over this number because of Milwaukee. Versus Portland, it didn't go over this number. And then you look at the Sixers. That second game in Orlando, after they'd been sitting there for a while, look, I get it. Was a high-scoring game. I get it. But I think this low total, we can get underneath it.
Yeah, but the problem that I have is, and this has happened to me a lot as of this year, and that's just being late to the party. It's just being late to the party now. Is it going to still continue to trend downward? Or is this where we get caught? And I've just seemed to get caught more often than not. So, yeah, I'm cool.
Well, I'm going to move on the under. This pace that Cleveland, both teams are playing are just too slow. It's just too slow. And you take Jared Allen out of the way, but you still have, Coral. You still have some size other than Mobley to bother the Sixers, and you have Embiid, in the paint. So I find the under very, very appealing here, and I will be moving on it.
Okay.
Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta Hawks 11-10, 4-6 on the road. Orlando Magic 5-16, but 4-7 at home, which is where they are at the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. Atlanta 1-4 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 100.6 possessions a game. Orlando, if the gas report says I see it's moved down to 209.5, I need to be over that 210. I need 210 or over. It's at 210 right now. I don't know if I take it under 210. I need that 210 there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Orlando 0-5 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 97 possessions a game. Hawks coming off their third straight loss, 104-101 at the Sixers on Monday. Magic coming off their fifth straight loss, 109-102 at Brooklyn on Monday as well. Let's take a look at the line history for this one. We have Atlanta opening up at -6 and -105. It dropped to 5.5 for a while. Yeah. So it opened at 6.5. It lasted there for 8 minutes, hit 6, lasted there for 45 minutes, hit 5.5. So the early money was all over Orlando. At home. There's been buyback, a bit of buyback. This total opened up at 225. It shot up to 228. So it's, the total's 18 points higher than the Sixers-Cavs game, with 8 more possessions between the two. That's it, 8 more possessions. Obviously, there's lots that goes into that, but let's take a look at the cash flow here. This is the only spot on the board that Sports Insights has given full line value to a team. And Sports Insight hasn't given more than 25% line value to any team here. But they've given full line value to the Orlando Magic. 3,751 tickets in, 45% of tickets, 67% of cash on the Magic, 81% of tickets, 88% of cash on the over. We've seen that over cash affect the books, move the total up. And we've seen the bigger bets coming in on the Magic initially move the line to 5.5. The public coming back in with a quantity of action, but not a big cash flow of action, but a quantity of action, moving it back a half point. Take it away for us, Darryl. Hawks Magic.
Yeah, I missed it here. I missed it. So I don't want to play the over because I did look at that. When I was looking at the site, that total was 227 and home by, or away rather, by 2.62. 2.62. So technically Atlanta doesn't cover here, right? Are we honestly at a point to where we're confident betting on Orlando? We can't be, right? We can't be. Orlando is better at home than away. And the same can be said for Atlanta. Atlanta's trash. Like they're 4-6, man. They're 4-6 away. Where they do their work and get their work done is at home. That's how it's been. I just looked at the injury report. Again, this is another, you've got set pieces out that matter. And Mo Bamba's questionable. So maybe he gets up, and maybe that's why you're seeing a little line movement toward Orlando. But Mo out. Wendell Carter's out. Of course, Jonathan Isaac, who will probably never play again, is out. And then, Jalen Suggs and Chewin have been out. But another game that I cannot get behind Miami, as terrible as they are. At the same token, I can't get behind Orlando Magic because I don't think anybody is confidently betting Orlando Magic. Show me somebody who is like, yes, I got a top play, I got a 5-unit play, and it's Orlando Magic. Nobody's doing that shit. I don't think so. If you are, then please teach me because I don't know what you're seeing. So it looks like the best play would be the over in this game, but you missed it. You missed it. So I think this is another game to where I was going to play that over because I did see the 225. I looked early this morning, and when I saw that total was already 227, now it's steamed up to 228. I'm seeing 228. It's like, whoa, okay, maybe you step off right now and just see what happens with this line. It's an obvious game to where if we're just broadly looking at the game and just as a fan of the game, Atlanta should go in and smack these boys with the weapons they have, right?
Why is Atlanta playing so poorly? They do not have an injury excuse. That loss to the Rockets was Friday. Remember during our show, we talked a lot about whether we wanted the Rockets at +8. I think it went down. I think it was +8, but then they Rockets went outright 128, 122. Then they lose by 8 points to the Heat, who are starting to get healthier, and then they lose by 3 at the Sixers, which I'm sure was a cover. That final line on that one was it wasn't. It was Sixers -2.5, just -2.5. Wow. So is this an angry Atlanta Hawks team that's going to come in here and get right? If the Hawks were on a 3-game winning streak, I would be on Orlando immediately. But is this an angry team that needs to get right here, or is this an angry team that can't be trusted?
I think from the guard's perspective, Trey doesn't scare anybody. Right? They shot 28% from the field, and that was against Miami. So, or from the 3, right? So, I mean, their shooting has kind of been off, but nobody's walking around scared of Trey Young or Dejounte Murray. I don't think so. They would talk some serious shit to those guys. So, as far as them having motivation and getting angry, maybe it works for them, but it's not going to punk the other team. And none of these guys are scared of Trey. Trey's probably the smallest guard in the NBA. Right. So I don't know. You just got to be motivated to play. You should come in here and beat them. But nah, man, nobody's afraid of the Hawks. That John Collins has had his own kind of issues with that team, and it's kind of been going on for years now. So I don't know, man. I don't know this Atlanta Hawks team right now, and it's too much of a price for me at -6 to take them. But yeah, in Orlando, I'm just not confident in them to take Orlando. So, like we said, Atlanta should go in here and beat the shit out of them. But I'm not confident. I'm not confident, especially with the number going down. There's better games.
Yeah, I think that Orlando can stay in. What are your thoughts on Cole Anthony and Markel getting back into the lineup? Are they starting to find a rhythm here? A Bull looking quite good.
Yeah.
Wagner playing
What you need to do, what are Bull's props right now? Because that's the moneymaker right now, props wise.
Wild Hound.
Anybody in the chat, have they looked at Bull's props?
I'll pull them up right now quickly, and then we'll move on to the next game. But right now, Bull is at 13.5 points, juiced to the over.
Mm-hmm.
Just slightly juiced. For boards, he is at 9.5, juiced heavily to the under.
Mm.
So his points, assists, and rebounds is at 24.5 at a pick'em.
Yeah. Okay. Just kind of curious. I know I've had a buddy that's been playing on Bulls props, and he seems to be hitting them. So yeah, this is just no play for me. I'm not interested in this game.
All right. I think I want the Magic. I mean, the Hawks have shown us no reason. I mean, if you look at what the Hawks have done on the road this year, look at what the Magic have done at home this year. The spread should be
under 500 at home.
Yeah, but the Hawks are under 500 on the road. 4-6 and 4-7. Does that really constitute a 6-point favorite?
Yeah.
I'm interested. I'm interested here in the Magic +6. I think, and I also think that the public's going to come in and start betting the Hawks. That I could even wait. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Miami Heat 10-11, 2-7 on the road at the Boston Celtics. 17-4, 10-1 at home. Jesus, the Boston Celtics, the Boston Bruins.
Insane, bro.
God damn. It's just unbelievable what these two franchises are doing. And look at the home records, too. Bruins undefeated at home. Celtics 10-1 at home. It's all happening at TD Garden, Boston. Miami 3-2 over their past 5. I think Markel Fultz is playing. I have every expectation that he's playing. Trotwam liking Fultz as well.
What up, Wham? OG Wham?
Wham, bam in the house. Boston 4-1 over their past 5, playing the pace 98.80 possessions a game. Take a look at the line history for this one. This was once a heavyweight fight.
Once.
The Celtics opened up at -8. They're now -9. The total opened up at 225, dropped to 224.5. When we move over to the cash flow here, 4,004 tickets in, 70% of tickets, 85% of the cash on the Celtics. 37% of tickets, 86% of cash on the under. I've seen sharp action on the under in Celtics games, and it just flies over because the Celtics, regardless of the pace they're playing at,
they just blow people out, bro.
And their efficiency is just sky high. Hawks Heat coming off their 3rd straight win, 106-98 at the Hawks on Sunday. Celtics coming off their 4th straight win, 140-105, beat down to the Hornets at home on Monday. On the second half of a back-to-back, they put up 140. They'd beaten Washington 130-121 a night earlier. They put up 270 points in that back-to-back. This is their 3rd game in 4 nights, and the 5th game of a 6-game homestand, which is very dangerous. A spot that I love backing teams. Take it away for us, Darryl. Heat Celtics.
You ready for this analysis?
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this analysis?
I think so. Yeah.
Give me Boston, first half, full game. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Ooh, you cashed both of these on Friday, and it's okay. It's all good. We'll get
Let's
you
see.
back.
I think I got my camera. Hold on.
Okay, we'll get you back. We'll get you back. He cashed both of these on Friday, and man, his camera couldn't even handle how confident he is on the Boston Celtics. His camera panicked with that shit. Now, I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is. Last Wednesday was extremely strong. Let's just pull up and I'll have all of Darryl's records up here shortly, just giving him a little bit more a sample size. But let's pull up last Wednesday's glory. Last Wednesday, the 23rd. Darryl's back. I'll review his. I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is because there's a motherfucking in one of them. But take it away. Talk to us about your confidence in these Celtics.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with my camera there. I know it's plugged in. So at any rate, what they're doing is absolutely insane right now. Now, I was in church for a minute because talking about are we too late to the party? I hope this isn't a game where I'm too late to the party with the way Boston's been playing right now. On a tear. They're ranked first in the league in first quarter scoring, first in the league in first half scoring, right? So I know Heat plays with a certain amount of pride, and I don't know how this game would be in the first quarter. Or I would just pull a nasty Nate here and go Celtics trifecta. Boston is averaging 71 points in the first quarter or the first half. 71 points in comparison to Miami's, first half at 53. So I just think when you got a team that's kind of locked in the way they are right now, and they're firing on all cylinders, they're literally cooking with propane, if you will, man. You got to jump on it. Just hope I'm not late to the party here and they let me down. That happened to me yesterday playing Golden State first quarter, and they shot their lowest first quarter total just about of the season, their second lowest, right? So I just hope I'm not late to the party here, but this is one of these teams right now, man, that is good on all cylinders, man. They are firing and they are playing. So I do like them. First half, I got it at -5, and I took them full game at -9. And I'm telling you right now, I am coming close to betting Celtics over 60.5 first half scoring. Celtics over 60.5 first half scoring.
Do you have concern that Jaylen Brown won't? He missed Monday's win over Charlotte, where they put up 140. Are you concerned that he will miss another game with neck stiffness?
No, I mean the problem is we thought I'm gonna. This was a game that I thought Boston. I can't think of the game where they played on Monday, right? And we said it was one of these games to where we thought that Tatum might be sitting, and we was like, "Yo, just watch and see. Just wait for this game and see if Tatum was sitting." Obviously, he didn't sit, and they just routed their opponent. I can't think of that game, that specific game that it was, but I'm just not really afraid of how these injuries go, whether somebody's going or not, because everybody is playing good. The whole team is. So there he is. Nate to tell you right now, Celtics trifecta.
These teams meet again on Friday in Miami, and Hero questionable. 7 players are questionable, but Butler didn't travel with the team, so we know he will not be in the lineup.
Yeah.
He's going to wait.
Last time I was like, "Fuck Butler." I mean, I of course I'm just that's just all banter, right? But can you discredit, regardless of who's in and out, what this coach is doing right now with this team and how well they're playing together? This is just a continuation of the second half of the season, and it seems like they're just doing it a lot earlier. God damn it. Something's going on with my camera.
All right, it's okay. We'll get you to figure that out. So let's line shop for Darryl here. So this kind of feels like a spot where the Celtics smash, and then 2 nights later, At home, the Heat have Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler and fight back. It feels like that. Will line shop for Darryl. He had 2. I don't give a motherfucking shit. Well, 1, I don't give a shit what the spread is in the Cavs last week, -7.5 at home Portland, and they won by 18. And then Darryl gave us, I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is in the Pelicans Spurs, and the Pelicans won by 19, a 7-point favorite. So a nice spot for him there. Let's lock Darryl in for first half and full game. Celtics first half and full game. First half, let's pop this in here. Okay, well, full game, we'll start there. Full game, we can get him a -9. Actually, well, no, I don't think he'll want the juice. -9 at +101. Full game, -9 at +101. And then let's give him a first half look here. First half, -5 at -106. First half, -5 at -106. Boston Celtics are a wrecking crew right now, but I am a little hesitant. I'm a little hesitant to tail myself here, although I do think the spot to back the Heat would be at home on Friday. Hey, yo, D, what up, my guy? Rodney Barton says my book keeps bouncing this line from 9.5 to 9. Let's just take a look at what we expect this starting lineup to be here at Miami. I guess we go to RotoWire starting lineups. Why don't we do that? RotoWire NBA. Okay, let's take a look at the starting lineup expected for this Heat team. Well, they have Hero in it, but you have Martin and Strus, both game time decisions. Bam, gonna go. Look at this mess the Heat have. What a mess. What an absolute mess. All right, so we have Darryl locked in. First half -5, -106. Full game -9 at +101. And Billy Brisbane says no Butler. They're about to get blown out. God, I think you guys are right, even without Brown. The question is, do you want to wait until Brown becomes available? Let's get Darryl back in action. Here we go. We're going to move on. So, Darryl, we got you a -5 at -106 and a -9 at +101. And we did remind everybody that the I don't give a shit what the spread is on the Blazers, -7.5. They won by 18. And the I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is last week on the Pelicans, -7. They won by 19. So you're running nice there. Billy Brisbane agreeing with the look, and we know there's going to be no Butler. Let's move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Washington Wizards 11-10, 3-6 on the road at the Brooklyn Nets. 11-11, 6-4 at home. We're at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Washington 2-3 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 99.20 possessions a game, while Brooklyn 3-2, playing at a pace of 96.30 possessions a game. Both teams here are playing their third game in 4 nights, so both are tired. We'd need Dan Kelly's database to give us an idea here with both teams in the similar situation of how it would affect totals. From a line history standpoint, Brooklyn opening up at -5.5. They get up to 6 a couple times and come back to 5.5, 6 and come back to 5.5. From a total standpoint, opened up at 223.5 and has gone up 6 points, 6 to 229.5. Wild, absolutely wild market movement there. And when we take a look at the cash flow, 5,018 tickets in. They've given the tiniest line value, like a couple percent to Washington. 65% of tickets, 77% of cash on Washington. Then 83% of tickets, 97% cash on the over. Wizards snapped their 3-game losing streak with a 142-127 win at home over the Timberwolves on Monday. Brooklyn comes in off a 109-102 win at home over Orlando. Take it away for us, Darryl. Next game on the board, Wizards Nets.
I think this is going to be a Boston blowout, or excuse me, a Brooklyn blowout. I really do, but this is a game that I also did not touch. I don't think I didn't have enough confidence in this game. I honestly did not have enough confidence in this game. But Brooklyn, this is a game that they should get up for. Did not want to touch this game, just didn't really think much of it.
Ben Simmons is not going to play tonight due to left knee soreness. Does that affect at all your thoughts on it?
Ben Simmons has been up and down for this whole season so far. right? So at this point, we saw an outbreak or a breakout game rather with him. But are we really putting a lot of stock into if Ben Simmons plays or not? Because you don't know which product you're going to get with him, right? As good as he's been, is this still one of these things to where he's just mentally in his head and he still hasn't really found his rhythm? I don't know. Remember when Brooklyn played Philly and we thought that was a game that Ben Simmons was going to get punked. He didn't show up at all. And we talked about that was Philly's Super Bowl and to take Philly in that game, and they wound up winning that game with a decimated roster. And so I just when I look at Brooklyn and I'm trying to determine if I'm going to bet this game, whether if Ben Simmons is in or out, I'm not doing it. And if he isn't, am I betting and banking on him to play a good game? I just totally take him out of the picture and know that this team is going to move how Kyrie and KD moves. So I promise you, man, I'm not that fully vested in Ben Simmons. Like, he's going to have to do work and he's going to have to do it consistently. And he's still not there. He's not doing it.
Are the Wizards the type of team that can't be trusted on the road? Let's just go over the last few road games they've had, because they seem to take care of business at home. They lose by 9 to the Celtics. No harm in that. They lost that double dip in Miami against, a real broken down Miami squad. And then they had that huge homestand where they go 5-1 over the 6-game homestand.
And then you lose 3 in a row.
They've already they've already played the Nets earlier in the year and they got destroyed. Absolutely destroyed at home, embarrassed 128-86. Mm-hmm. Embarrassed. Does that come into play? The fact that they were just demolished in front of their fans?
It has to be. But then at the same token, and this is just me, I'm going to look at the numbers here because it really shows Brooklyn not covering this game also, if I'm right. Yeah, Brooklyn actually home by 6.8. Total on this game is 221. I don't know, really. I'm going to sit here and just be honest with you. I don't know how to gauge both these teams just yet. I don't. Because then you have Washington come out and just completely smack the shit out of Minnesota. So I'm just not there. It should be a Brooklyn game, right? But at the same token, these teams are just up and down, in my opinion. So maybe off that win against Minnesota, who's one of the higher scoring teams, you put up 142 points. 142 points against Minnesota. And so I don't know if that carries on. There should be a lot of scoring in here. If you're going to put up 142, you look at that game, and looking at it now, Washington shot 48 from the arc. So maybe that shooting continues. I don't know. At this point, it's just a game that I didn't have any interest in because I really still can't gauge either of these teams.
I guess the one thing that jumps out at me is that the stats are difficult for both teams. Mike M says Nets 0-6 against spread at home as favorites versus Southeast Division. Gasport saying Brooklyn shouldn't be favored by 5 against anyone at home. And then Sweaty Butcher saying since last season, Wizards are 2-9 against spread as an away dog off a win. I guess this, but one thing that hits me is that Brooklyn playing at a pace of 96.3 possessions a game. You have to think that Brooklyn is going to control the pace at home. And I know that Simmons out maybe means less defense, but how is this? Okay, maybe 223.5 was too low. Maybe. But they're judging this off the 142-127 game the Wizards just played. I think it's too high now. Now, I always get burnt when I do this, but a 6-point swing, the market is pretty liquid right now. Like we're a quarter of the way into the season, and you're going to tell me that a 6-point swing is a valid look when there's no real injuries, when we knew that Ben Simmons was going to be out? I think it's gone too high. I think it's just
so you like the under this?
I do, because I think that I think the reason why this got hammered to the over was
It's because of that 142.
Yeah, 142, 127. It's a recency bias. We know that Brooklyn at home with the more skilled team should be controlling the pace. That pace over the last 5 games is the bottom 5 in the NBA, 96 possessions a game. So, okay, you can say that the 223 is too low, and that's fair. But you think it should have gone up 6 points?
Well, tell me this. If I'm right, Brooklyn is the worst or close to the worst rebounding team in the league. Right? So you're going to have some points come in the paint. Even if it's some second chance points. You know the Wizards should have and win the board game against Brooklyn. So maybe you have some second chance points coming from in the paint. You know you're going to get scoring out of Kyrie and KD. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate as and why that over makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you may not technically shoot 40, 48, 47% from the arc like you did against Minnesota. But you should be able to get some second chance points in the paint. You should be able to get some cleanup points. So it's that, and that's another reason why I battle with this, because looking at the 4 factors of the NBA that always take into account that takes each factor being weighted a certain amount. Rebounds have a lot to do with that. So we know that the Wizards are going to beat them at the board game. Maybe look at Porzingis here. You know, but it's just, like I said, it's just one of these games that I don't want to get involved in. I can see the over making sense because you're probably not going to shoot in the high 40s from the arc, but you are going to get cleanup points.
I think 6 is just too much. I think it's just, but if the Wizards control the pace, then they'll be in business. Gary Tenebra in the house. In Gas Report, I hear what you're saying.
What's Gas Report saying?
He's saying he doesn't think Brooklyn is a more skilled team with his current lineup. And I said, he's like, are you sure you think they're more skilled? Because he does not. And I said, maybe it's vividness, but yes. And the team with KD and Kyrie and Seth, I think, is more skilled than Beal.
I mean, he's got a point.
Yeah.
He's got a point.
Spenny saying Nets laying points in general. It's funny. I just think that the 6-point move is too much. I bet you.
We're talking a lot about this game, but are you comfortable with taking more unders? I mean, is that just first instinct, or you just this line moving by that many points doesn't make sense to you because you don't think they can get them in the board? You don't think they can get second chance points?
We're talking about so let's compare it to the Hawks Magic game. I guess you have a similar pace, very, very similar, the 2 games. And so the Hawks Magic pace or spread would open at 225. It shot up to 228. This one, 223 to 229. If you look at the pace for the Philly Cavs game, you have the Cavs team at home. They're 8-1 at home, and they're playing at a very slow pace. Philadelphia playing at the same pace as Brooklyn. So in that game, in this one here with, as you said, a team that can't rebound, but Wizards Nets, you have a total that's gone up to 229 or 229 and a half. That total is 19 points higher than the Sixers Cavs total, 19 points higher with 6 less possessions a game. Now, I know that there's a big difference in the paint with Philadelphia, Cleveland, so maybe it's a bad example. But I understand betting the over at 223. I understand liking it at 225. But at 229, you're saying that the advanced models are 6 points off of a total. I think it's just wrong. I don't think they are. And I will bet that they're not 6 points off. Especially when the home team, I believe, will dictate the pace, and the road team just came off scoring 142 points to snap a 3-game losing streak. And they did it at home where they're good. And the Wizards got blown out by the Nets in their only battle, so they should be angry. And Lee Davis says, I agree with that, Jimmy. You know I love to fade massive line moves. And Rob Free says they're saying zero defense is going to be played. I don't see how zero defense could be played by the Wizards. They lost by 40 at home to these Nets. You think the coach won't bring that up? So I hear what they're saying, Rob. I don't agree with it. I don't think that the advanced models could possibly be 6 points off a quarter way into the season. So that's my thinking, and I will bet it. I'll put my money where my mouth is, and I'll bet the under in this game. So, all right, Dan Kelly in the house. Is Cleveland a completely different team without Allen? He does not get credit for his great play.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I love Jared.
And that's why I can't get there. It's completely different, man.
All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Milwaukee Bucks 14-5, 3-3 on the road at New York Knicks 10-11, 4-5 at home at Madison Square Garden in New York. Milwaukee 3-2 over their past 5, playing at a pace 100.5 possessions a game. Knicks 2-3, playing at a pace at 99.82 possessions a game. Take a look at the line history here. The Knicks open up as 5.5-point favorites. They're now 6-point favorites. 5.5 now 6. Oh, sorry. The Bucks open up as 5.5-point favorites. Road favorites, they're now 6-point favorites. Total wise, there's been almost no movement. Opened up at 227. It got up to 227.5, even 228. It's back at 227.5. It did get down as low as 227 again, but sitting at 227.5. Take a look at the cash flow. This is going to be a fun one. 4,968 tickets in. 58% of tickets, 85% of the cash on the Bucks. Only a half-point move towards them. 35% of tickets, 84% of the cash on the under. And no movement on the total. Milwaukee comes in off their second straight win, 124-115 at home over the Mavericks on Sunday. This is a well-rested group. Knicks are on the second half of a back-to-back after snapping their 2-game losing streak last night in a 140-110 destruction of the Pistons in Detroit last night. We've lost Darryl here for a second. Dan Kelly said yesterday the Knicks were the worst three-point shooting team in the league. Last night they go 16 of 35 from 3. 16 of 35 from 3. You have to think, I'd be interested. I mean, you have this huge rest advantage with the Milwaukee Bucks in this spot. And I imagine that would give a lot of people confidence, especially after the Knicks looked so good in Detroit last night and then have to travel here. So Mike M. Pimp Slap play today. Knicks +6 on a 6-0 streak. Gary Tenebber says Knicks not tonight, a bad spot. But do you want to be on the other side of Mike M? A very dangerous place to be, the other side of Mike M. Let's pop this in here. And we got Darryl. It looks like using a different. No, we don't have Darryl. Almost had Darryl. Don't have Darryl. It's frozen right there. I'm sure he'll get his shit together. But knowing that the Knicks +6 is a look for Mike M, let's take a quick look at the injury report for these New York Knicks. Very healthy squad. And then here for the Milwaukee Bucks, still waiting on Middleton. Serge Ibaka, no issues really. I mean, Serge is a non-COVID illness. Take it away for us, Darryl. Bucks Knicks.
Low bag family, I'm so sorry about this. This is
It's all good. Oh, we're slowing down a little bit here.
My power cord. It's just. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're. Why don't you talk right now? It looks like you might be back.
Okay. So sorry, man. My power is tripping here, and so sorry about that, man. Show must go on. So let's look at this game. Am I good? Am I good enough for you?
Yeah, we're good to roll.
Okay. Bucks 4-2 away, first quarter ATS. Knicks 5-2 at home, first quarter ATS. Knicks 6-1, first half ATS. Knicks are third in the league right now in first half scoring at 61. So before I cut off, I think there was somebody that was saying, look at the first half scoring for this game, right? That's probably not a good spot. Last 3, they've had 61 points. Milwaukee is averaging 62 points in the first half. Last game put up 73 points. So does that continue, right? This is one of these games to where, looking at what the line says, I have home by 0.12. Home by 0.12 with home winning this game. So New York actually beating Milwaukee here. I was just looking, though. Milwaukee hasn't played a lot of away games. They have not played. I think they've only played 6 away games?
Yeah, 6 out of 19 games.
Yeah. So they're not really playing a lot of away games. Still coming at home. Now, I know, do we fade New York off a back-to-back right now and just go in with the Bucks? It's one of those games to where I didn't want to get involved in because the numbers are kind of evenly matched. Is this line high enough to just jump on New York first quarter, first half and get, take the points here? I'm leaning New York first quarter here. Leaning. But I would be interested to see what the injury report looks like. I would be interested. So I got a huge leaning really on New York first quarter, possibly first half. But another solid play on this does look like the first half game total. What is that going to be? Over. What are we looking at now for that game total? I haven't played it yet.
Let's get it for you.
About 115?
No, much lower. 111.5. It opened at 110.5.
Yeah. See, it seems like that's the safe play, just how these guys are trending. How they're trending right now is ridiculous. I mean, even in the first quarter, New York has stepped it up. Now, they put up 40 points last night, but they're averaging 32. And Milwaukee has a solid average of 33 in their last 3. So that's 65 points right there. You're well above your way to get to the first half number. So I'm going to lean that first half number. That's going to be probably the safest play for me. And also lean on New York first quarter because the numbers are there.
Are we going to make either of these official?
Not official, but the 2 plays that I'm looking at leaning on is going to be New York first quarter and that over 111 first half, 111.5 first half.
It's interesting. You would think here that second half of a back-to-back against a team that hasn't played since Sunday, that, huge rest advantage for the Bucks. You would just think automatically that's got to help the Bucks. And one of the reasons why I say, I wonder what Dan thinks about this, because it's just not that as simple as it sounds. And Dan says he does deep dives in all the rest situations, and Nick's situation's not that bad for them tonight. And you have Mike M saying Knicks on a back-to-back spot are a winning spot. Last 2 or 3 seasons, second half back-to-back for Knicks, 20-9 up 10 units. 29 straight up 10 units. So
that's not bad. Yeah, so that would make sense. I think you need to get in and get out. The numbers are similar as far as scoring in the first half, even in the last 3. Rest advantage. But to a certain degree, rest advantage could be a blessing or a curse, right? You might have too much time off and be a little rusty, have a slow start.
Well, you made a real good point with 6 road games out of 19 games for the Bucks, and they're 3-3 on the road. This is a fascinating spot, and if we sit back and wait, I'm sure the Bucks are also going to get bet. So
I see a 6. Do you think that will get to 6.5?
I do think
so. We should wait for a better number for the first quarter because that could probably.
Yeah. 59% of the tickets and 85% of the cash is on the Bucks.
Yeah.
The Bucks, I guess, the Thunder and the Timberwolves have more cash, and so do the Kings. But the Bucks are right up there as one of the most heavily bet teams.
In your opinion, and this is even for the people in the chat, how much higher do you think this line will go?
I think it ends up at 7.
Okay. And we know Tibbs will play his players. Do you think anybody is going to – you think there's going to be a late scratch? And I know we're kind of – we're kind of spitballing here. But could you see a late scratch because of the back-to-back?
I mean, they're not the type of team that concerns me that much. So
Because right now it's saying looking at the latest injury report that it's not yet submitted. So I am going to wait this one out. But if you're thinking it's going to get to 7, then that first quarter number is going to be 2.5 maybe, right?
Well, I think that if it doesn't move off of 6 with all the money that's going to be pouring in on the Bucks, that the Knicks are the play.
Yeah, I agree. I won't make it official, but that's going to be a crazy a lean. I would make it official if you didn't think there was going to be much more line movement. But let's just see if we could.
It's going to tell the tale of this game. The market will, because at this point you have, almost 9 of every $10 being bet on the Bucks on the spread. So I think we keep a really close eye on it. I think there's no worry waiting. And Mike M, 6 straight winners, Pimp Slap plays of the day, and he's on the Knicks +6.
Okay. Yeah, I would be comfortable. I mean, those guys are just Iron Men to a certain degree. Tibbs will play those guys to the ground. I'm not mad at that play. I'm not. But I don't know if those legs get tired. I would rather want to get my money, get in and get out. But, yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that play. I do like Knicks first quarter. I just want to see if I can get more value with the line.
Yeah, no, I understand it. And tweet it out and tag me. We'll add it to your action.
Yeah.
Let's move on to 8 p.m. Eastern. Friday, I moved on the Grizzlies with a ton of confidence, and they smash and grabbed for me. The Nuggets did too. They were very low. The favorites that didn't make sense to me. Dan Kelly, by the way, says if you like the Knicks, you got to sprinkle money line. Grizzlies 12-8, 5-6 on the road. Minnesota Timberwolves 10-11, 5-6 at home. We're at Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Memphis 3-2 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 103.2 possessions a game. Minnesota 2-3, playing at a pace of 104.20 possessions a game. These teams are playing fast. They are playing fast. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have, here we go, Memphis opening up at -4. They're now at -3.
I don't understand that.
It got to 2.5.
Yeah, why is that? Why is that going down though? I don't understand it.
The total opening up at 231.5, got up to 233 and has come down. Let's take a look at the cash flow and see if it helps illuminate everything. There's LJ from H-Town, first quarter and first half over here on this one. There's Nunya in Kadesh. Love
LJ, what's good, baby?
Together. Rob Free says Dylan Brooks news.
Yeah, but and I was looking at the injury report. He is questionable, but would Dylan make the line move that much?
30% of the tickets are on Minnesota and 95% of the cash. So the reason why it moved was because some big bets from gamblers that the books trust have come in on the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, that's a huge difference. 30% of tickets, 95% of the cash. Sports Insight says there's value on the Grizzlies at this price, giving it about 15% value.
It's got to be, right.
39% of the tickets, 93% of cash on the under. There's Von Polo in the house. I can help hook that up, my guy. UFC back in action this weekend. Memphis comes in off their second straight win, 127-123 at the Knicks on Sunday. Timberwolves coming off their third straight loss, 142-127 at Washington on Monday night. No Cat for a while. Take it away for us here. Grizzlies, Timberwolves.
This is what I would do. I really don't fully, but on top of what you said, I don't understand why the line has gone down. And I'll tell you why. Who I think is a really good glue guy, a really good player for the Timberwolves is McDaniels. He's questionable. And if he doesn't play, man, I'm just like, this is a Memphis spot right now. This is definitely a Memphis spot. I just think Memphis is a lot better than Minnesota. Minnesota's kind of been in disarray. They went on a little tear where they had won 5 games in a row. They had beat Cleveland at Cleveland. They had beat Orlando at Orlando. They beat Philly at Philly. They beat Miami. And then they went to Indy and beat Indy. Now you lose to Charlotte, which is kind of telling. You lose to Golden State and you lose to Washington. They're trending downward. And that injury came in the Charlotte game, right? So you could see where it was a loss there. It was a close game, 108 to 110. Golden State smacks you, and Washington just beats you down. Why would money be coming in to a point where you're making that number go down like it is? For Memphis themselves, they beat New York at New York, and they beat New Orleans, right? You had a setback with Sacramento, but we've known how Sacramento's been playing. That game was a really close game. Sacramento almost tricked off that game. That was a game where we took Sacramento, and they lost to Brooklyn, right? But it just seems like Memphis is the better team here still, even without Dylan Brooks. And if you're not having Jaden McDaniels in that lineup for Minnesota, this should be a Memphis spot. So I want to see where that news is. It seems like you should take them now while the line is as low, but I don't honestly understand the line movement, and I don't want to get stuck here, to be honest with you. So I haven't played it, but Memphis should be the spot. I'm looking at this game. The site says 231 is the total, so it's set right there, right where that number is right now, and away by 1.14. 1.14. So it's a tricky game to me. Very, very tricky.
Very, very confusing. Rob Freeze on Memphis, better coach team, says he'd really like to have Brooks out there to harass Edwards. Dan Kelly says Minnie in a bad rest situation. They're playing their 10th straight game without 2 consecutive days off at home and without 2 consecutive home games. That doesn't happen often. The market moving the way it is uncomforting. I don't want. There's just too many. I'm gonna wait a little bit, get the injury report, see what happens in the shoot around. This is tricky. Ken Mizrahi in the house. AOD. There's no move for me here in Grizzlies.
I can't. And with a number that low, I think people are going to jump all on Memphis later on, right? I honestly do.
Well, they already have 70% of the tickets. It's just that they have 5% of the cash because a whale bet was put in on the Timberwolves. So. All right, that one. Okay. We got a ton of action still to come, so let's keep rolling. 8 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Raptors 11-9, 3-7 on the road. New Orleans Pelicans 12-8, 7-3 at home. We're at Smoothie King Center. Toronto 3-2 over the past 5, playing at the pace 96 possessions a game, whereas the Pelicans 3-2 as well, but playing at a much faster pace, 102.30 possessions a game. We'll go into the line history here for Raptors Pelicans. We have the Pelicans opening up as 1-point favorites. It's flipped. They're now point and a half dogs.
Brother.
So let's go to the money line, get a better idea. They open up at minus 112. They're now plus 109. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 224.5 and has dropped to 222. A lot of people believing in this Raptor squad right now. From a cash flow perspective, you have 3,143 tickets in, 74% of the tickets, 87% of the cash on the Raptors, 62% of the tickets, 95% of the cash on the over, and then it's dropped 2 points. Raptors coming off that impressive 188 win at home over Cleveland on Monday, but they are 3-7 on the road. Pelicans coming off a 105-101 win at home over Oklahoma City Thunder on Monday night. JT is on the over here. Take it away for us, girl. Raptors, Pelicans.
Yeah, wait on this game. Wait on this game. And I believe you see the flip is because you're going to have those set players out, right? So you've got Larry Nance is questionable, right shoulder soreness. You've got CJ questionable. His is return to competition reconditioning is what they keep it as. And then you've got Marshall, who's questionable, and he's had a non-COVID illness. Wait to see if these guys play or not. I don't think they play, and that's why you've seen the line move like it has. And also, that's why you've probably seen that under get hit as well. So it's a no play for me. It still seems like New Orleans has enough to get it done. Ingram is out also. So now you're putting a lot of that on Zion Williamson. This could be a game that Toronto can't get up for and win because you got too many set pieces out for New Orleans. Stay off this game until you see the injury report.
So what we're saying, though, is the fact that the Raptors are now the favorites is saying to us that McCollum is not going to come back.
That's true.
And Marshall are not going to be in the lineup.
Yeah. There's too much trickeration, though. We've seen this happen before at game time. It does make sense, and that is telling right now, right? But when you have your status as return to competition reconditioning. How do you define that? Right? CJ could very well play, probably be on a minutes restriction. Not saying that he can't play or he's going to be out for sure. You just don't know with this type of injury report and that type of status. So I would just wait for it just to make sure that you're just not getting having the books trick off on some shit. It is telling you, though, when you have a flip like this, that yes, they're probably not going to play. But I would rather be for sure and see that out status versus, okay, game time decision, or he's going to be on a minutes restriction.
BJ saying TJ's being officially ruled out on Twitter.
Okay.
And then that makes sense, what we saw from the market movement.
Okay.
So he went through conditioning. He's not playing. Ken was
so that
by 10.
Yeah, so that looks like a Raptor spot.
Yeah, Andrew G saying he's been ruled out officially 15 minutes ago.
15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
What line are you seeing right now? Because I'm probably going to.
Let's pull it out. What up, John Pod, my guy? Let's take a look and see what is available.
Because I see it at +2 right now.
Right now, the for the Pellies, there's a 2.5 at Bovada for the Pelicans.
Jesus.
2.5 at 5 dimes. There are some 2s out.
Yeah, I'm not going to play this game. I'm not. I'm going to I'm not going to play this game. I would have loved to have gotten a Toronto +1. I'm not. But this should be a spot to where Toronto should be able to get it done easily. I'm not going to give you a play that I haven't played myself. Right? So Cleveland and Dallas are really good teams, and they beat them. Toronto beat them. So when you got a Pelicans team that's decimated at this point, they should get out there and get it done. I might get to it, but for right now, I'm not playing it. No play for me.
I'm interested in the Raptors. Very interested here. We are pushing for OG for the All-Star game. Heavy push in the city. OG to be in his first All-Star game. We've, obviously Scotty Barnes is not going to be in an All-Star game. We've given out, but there's some people who want to push Van Fleet. But we think Siakam will be in there, so it's Siakam and who, because there's no chance that 3 Raptors are getting in. We're 11-9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Bo Jackson says the Raptors win tonight and lose against the Nets. Andrew G is already on the Raps. That is good news. Nice job.
That's good. He probably got it early.
Diesel Eugene in the house. Trey Murphy, 3s could be a look by Spenny Penny Bombs. He is on the 5.5 assists for Siakam, over 5.5 assists, which was the look that Darryl liked last year as well. Let's move on. There's Canadian Capper rolling with us. What up, Canadian Capper? 8 p.m. Eastern. This is a bit of a bum fight. San Antonio Spurs 6-15, 3-7 on the road. Oklahoma City Thunder 8-13, 5-5 at home. Paycom Center, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Spurs 0-5. They've lost 8 straight, but over their last
terrible.
They've lost them all. 103.1 possessions a game, playing at a fast pace. OKC 1-4, playing at a pace of 101.38 possessions a game. We've already heard from Nutflush Allen. He's doing what he did this year. He's using the Spurs the way he used the Rockets last year. But whoever's playing the Spurs, he's betting team total overs, and it's working. Lakers put up 143 on Saturday night. Spurs are a rested group. And there it is. Rob Free also like in Toronto. There's Billy Friedrich already on the Oklahoma City team total over. And there is LJ also on the Oklahoma City team total over. Also Shea Gilgeous at 2+ steals. And LJ was the one who got us on the OG 2+ steals prop before he started. Now he leads the league. Thunder coming off their second straight loss, 105-101 at the Pelicans on Monday night. Let's take a look at the line history for this one here. We have the Thunder opening up as 5-point favorites. There's been no movement. It's been a 4-cent move to the Spurs. From a total perspective, it opened up at 237.5, dropped all the way down to 232.5. We take a look at cash flow for this one. 2,636 tickets in. They've given slight line value to the Spurs. 56% of tickets and 98% of the cash on the Thunder. And the market's moving slightly towards the Spurs. 71% of tickets and 93% of cash on the under. And we've seen a big drop in the total. This is interesting. Market giving us interesting information. Take it away here, Spurs Thunder.
I do like that team total over. As of right now, OKC is sitting points per game 6th in the league. They're averaging 115. Last 3, though, there's been a little downturn. It's been 109. Now, mind you, OKC played New Orleans. They played Houston, in which they only put up 105, but they did beat Chicago in overtime and put up 123. Denver, they lost overtime that game, but they put up 126. New York, they lost. New York allowed them to put up 119. These guys are quietly 500 at home. And San Antonio is still just terrible on the way. When they're away, they're 3-7. So I do like that team total. I think I'm going to play that right now. At home, they're averaging 119. No way San Antonio stops them. No way San Antonio stops SGA. I do like OKC, and I'm going to make a play on it now.
Shea is questionable with a left hip contusion. Do you think the fact that all of this money is coming on OKC and they haven't moved the line, in fact, they've taken juice off of OKC, is a sign that he won't be in the lineup tonight? Because we talk about
that's very, very telling. That's very, very telling. That's very, very telling. And he is the main scorer.
All of the money, and I mean all of the money, is on OKC, and the line's not moving. I think if anybody, whenever we deal with I know he's not being ruled out, Spenny, but whenever we deal with a situation where you see all this money on one side, we know that the books don't care about 50-50. They just want to beat us. All the money's on one side, and the line is not moving. In fact, it's moving a little bit in the other direction. You have to think, okay, let's fire out some possible reasons why this is happening. And that's the most blatant one. And I'm not saying that's happening, but it's a pretty blatant situation.
See, now this is 234 home by 8.88. That's what I'm seeing on this game. 234 home by 8.88.
Wow.
I mean, but do we go around betting OKC? They've beat some formidable teams as of late. I still like that team total over. I do. But I wonder if this will start to come down later. This is going to be another lean for me. Team total over. Because San Antonio can't stop a nosebleed.
Something's up here, though. Something's going on, man.
Yeah, I'm going to wait on this one, but it seems like that's a good play, to be honest with you.
And seems
like that's a good play.
How bad are the Spurs without Poeltl, without Sohan? Are they just
Spurs are just bad,
even with them?
They're just bad. Period. I mean, they've played the Lakers 3 times in 6 days, and they've lost all of those games.
Yeah.
So there's not much stake I have in San Antonio. It's just how confident I am that OKC can get out here and get it done, especially with Shea questionable. So I think I'm going to get there, but not as of yet, no.
Yeah, I think dealing with some trepidation makes sense. All right, let's move on. 9 p.m. Eastern, Houston Rockets, 5-15, 2-10 on the road. Denver Nuggets, 13-7, 5-2 at home at Ball Arena, Denver, Colorado. These teams just met in a 129-113 loss here on Monday night for the Rockets, and now they fight again. Denver 4-1, 95.61 possessions a game. This is the perfect situation for the Nuggets team to come in sloppy after smashing this team 2 nights ago at home. Houston playing at a faster pace than they were, quite a bit faster, almost 3 possessions faster than they were playing about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Houston 2-3 playing at a pace of 101.30 possessions a game. Mike M says, I think this is Nuggets trifecta spot. Let's see what the market tells us, because I love when 2 teams play each other in the same barn, in consecutive games. And I just feel there's a ton of opportunities for us here. Denver opens up as 11.5-point favorites. There's been no movement at Pinnacle, none. This total opened up at 231. It's dropped to 230. And then when we take a look at the cash here, you have 40% of the tickets and 19% of the cash. 19 on the Denver Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
Denver Nuggets are going to come in here sloppy and cocky without a care in the world.
You think so?
I do. I really do. I think this is a perfect opportunity to bet the Rockets. Now, last Friday, there was a good opportunity, maybe not perfect, good opportunity to bet the Rockets. I couldn't do it. Look, it's one thing for me to say it. It's another thing for me to bet it. So I would need to build confidence here over the next couple minutes. But yes, I think this is a perfect opportunity to bet the Rockets. Take it away for us, Darryl. Rockets, Nuggets.
Yeah, if I'm right, Denver even lost that first half to the Rockets, right? So I'd be easy on the trifecta spot. Denver is averaging, they're ranked 4 in the league, first half points with 60.6. Last 3 has been 67.7, with their last game against Houston being at 70 points. Houston, on the other end, you might be right here, Jimmy. You might be right. 56.6 on the season. Last 3, 57. Now, maybe that was after the boost of 68 points to Denver in their last game. So I don't know if we look at Houston in this case here, and maybe it just falls apart for them in the second half. This could be a spot that you're talking about, but I just don't go around putting money on Houston. That's not something that I'm willing to take at all. So it's a no play for me on this game at all. Denver should come out here and just get it done. But you're convincing me enough to be like, okay, they're going to be sloppy. Houston just might get them or at least cover. I'm more inclined to stay off this game.
3.5 first quarter, 6.5 first half. In that meeting 2 nights ago, Denver didn't cover the first quarter. They put up 42 points and didn't cover the first quarter. 42-39. And then Houston outscored them by a point in the second quarter. It was the third quarter when the Nuggets took over.
Mm-hmm.
So, they could win whenever they wanted to. Mike M says 3.5 is a little too high. Markel says, got to lean over again. Where's the defense? But remember, Denver's playing at a pace of 95.61 possessions a game. So you have to go back to this spot, and Denver hit 40% from 3 and 56.8% from the field. Do you think that they're capable of doing that again here? That's the most important question.
And that's scary because I would have to look at the first half, second half splits. But Houston ended up only shooting 36% from the 3. Mm-hmm. So maybe they were on fire in the first half, obviously, and then completely sizzled out in the second half. So it's you go into the halftime and make your adjustments, but this one's hard for me. It's hard for me. If you're thinking that Houston's going to get them back after a complete collapse, then I'm just, like I said, more inclined to stay off the game.
Yeah, I need time with this one. Starchild says it should be Rockets spot, but I'd rather play the over. I want the Rockets, but I don't think I can take them first quarter and first half. Mike M says, I like the team to start the way they finished. Slow for Houston. Both teams, 45 points were scored in that fourth quarter. And we know what happened. Houston's playing at elevation, and they're kids, and they get tired. Now they've been in elevation for 2 days. So I don't know if that is necessarily an angle. Okay, I want to find an angle with the Rockets, and it's going to take me some deep diving because I do not want to have 2 units on them. And it's a very difficult thing to do. But I think the Rockets are very live here. I think they're very live. And you know what? Now that they've been in elevation for a couple days and the kids got used to it, I think maybe the best angle is the 11.5. Now that I think about it, because we saw what happened to them. That's just a bunch of kids getting tired, and then the Nuggets comfortable in the spot, know that it was going to happen probably.
You think 2 days is enough time?
Well, not to full, but to be more acclimated, more comfortable with it.
Okay.
Starchild says I don't trust their coaching. Rockets or nothing. Okay, I'm going to need more time. I'm not just going to sit here and
yeah.
Because I've got to make some decisions here, and they're very important decisions. So I can tell you this: I'm going to be on the Rockets some kind. After I bet it, I'll tweet it out. Let's move on. 9 p.m. Eastern. Chicago Bulls 9-11, 4-6 on the road to Phoenix Suns, 14-6, 11-1 at home. Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. It just waved over me how much I enjoy capping NBA with you, Darryl, and all these great cappers in the chat. I love this shit. It's so much fun. These
Yeah,
decisions
man.
we have to make are so much fun, and there's so much on the line. You know, the stakes are so high, and I just enjoy that shit. Rem says, Darryl trying to talk you off it. I get it. I feel you. I feel you. I hear you.
I'm just saying, man. Hey, we're just having a discussion.
I hear you. Chicago
Jump
3-2.
to the deep end, man.
3-2 over the past 5, 100.11 possessions a game. Phoenix 5-0, 100.5 possessions a game.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
take a look at the line history here for this one over here, and we go. Bulls playing good basketball. It takes great basketball to go into Phoenix and win. Bulls open up plus 5.5, minus 105. They've taken 5 cents of juice, and it went to 5 for a little while. Some public money came in. This total opened up at 224. It's up to 227.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow. You have 64% of the tickets on the Suns, but just 49% of the cash. That's telling. It's telling that this, this line went to 5 until the public got it pushed back to 5.5. That's telling. 22% of the tickets are on the under, but 52% of the cash. Public on the over. This is a fascinating spot. LJ says Suns, Bulls over 228.5, both averaging 115 points over their last 5 games. Bulls coming off their third win in 4 games, 114-107 in Utah Monday night. Suns coming off their 5th straight win, 122-117 in Sacramento on Monday night. Both teams traveling in to Phoenix for this one. Footprint Center. Take it away for us, Darryl. Bulls, Suns.
Phoenix 11-1 at home. Right? This seems automatic. You look at their level of competition right now, that they've both been playing good teams as of late. Right? Chicago did lose that overtime game to OKC. They did beat Utah. They beat Milwaukee. They beat Boston. I'm like, whoa, okay, they beat Boston. So it's one of these things to where, looking at the level of competition that Phoenix has also played, they beat Sacramento, Utah, Detroit, LA, and New York. So in these the most recent body of work, we can probably say that Chicago has beat the tougher teams. Detroit and LA, not even the same category as Milwaukee, Boston, and Utah. OKC being that, that one that you could probably say is the lesser of the teams, but they lost that game. They lost that game right now. And so this one's also a little different. I would have to side at least with Chicago in the first quarter. I would have to side with them. 25 points in the last 3 that Phoenix has given you. Chicago themselves, 29 points in the last 3. So something's got to give here. Something's got to give. Either Phoenix is going to shut Chicago down or Chicago's going to score. I bet on Chicago first quarter and lost that one. That was the last first quarter. But I think I'm going to get there today. I want to also see this injury report here. I don't know if it's anything that stand out as of a couple minutes ago, but we still have Alex, Ayo, and Goran all probable. Has there been any recent news since the show that they're confirmed good to go?
Yeah, well, I'll see if I can pull that up, but this is a fishy line. The Bulls have been a tricky cap for me.
Yeah, they lost that one against the Nets, but the Bulls at one point in time, man, were just crushing first quarters. It was something I was paying attention to.
Ayo is probable.
First quarter. So, Ayo, Goran, and Alex. So do we wait on this, or we think if well, yeah, you're right.
He's probable.
But I'm looking at getting on the Chicago first quarter line, and I might get there earlier than expected, but this is a lean for me. Chicago first quarter. Right now, they're playing better first quarters than Phoenix Suns. They're averaging more points, and they've played the better opponents, if you will, in this recent body of work, besides OKC. But Chicago is giving you 27 points in the first quarter. As a dog, they're giving you 27. So they're kind of even in the amount of points they will give you. And as a favorite right now, the Suns are putting up a lot of points, specifically in the first quarter, which is their second or their best quarter versus the third quarter. And so that's what kind of has me a little, bound, if you will. I want to play Chicago first quarter here. I just want to see what that line does. Something's got to give here. Either Phoenix is going to still continue to blow people out in the first quarter and just keep this game low. But this full game is kind of weird. The full game is kind of weird. So I would only look at an angle just from my perspective in first quarter Chicago Bulls.
I am going to stay off of this game. I find this very, very tricky, very difficult. See the sharps on the Bulls, public on the Suns, and the Bulls have confused me. Total climbing quickly to the over. Obviously no CP3. I want nothing to do with it. Let's move on. 9 p.m. Eastern. Oh, but if you do, because it sounds like you might have a few spots that you may tweet out later, I'll be all ears and we'll retweet it. 9 p.m. Eastern, Los Angeles Clippers 13-9, 6-4 on the road at Utah Jazz, 12-11, 6-3 at home. Vivint Arena in Salt Lake City, Utah. Lakers 3-2 over their past 5, 99.4 possessions game. Utah 0-5, 5 straight losses, and it was to the Bulls on Monday night, 114-107. So the Clippers come in off their second straight win, and that was a hell of a comeback last night.
Man,
a little comeback.
They were down by what, about 20 points at one point? But what has been the narrative with specifically Portland, man? They just fall flat. At some point in time, they're going to fall flat. Late third, fourth quarter, and you just see it happen game after game with these guys. And so I couldn't believe how good Anthony Simons was shooting, and then you just see it go away. It always happens.
Well, the Clippers are a fun team on back-to-backs, I guess, if you're a gambler, not if you're a fan.
Yeah.
So a lot of players not going to be in the lineup. Utah -6 opener, now -7.
Which
Total
is weird to me.
Opening up at 224.5 is now 224. I really think that there's opportunities to make a lot of money with the Jazz. There's Fowlish Hound in the house. Great to see you, Fowlish
Shout
Hound.
out, Fowlish.
So the Jazz are in game 2 of a 6-game homestand. They've lost 5 straight. They started out with that 114-107 loss on Monday. I think that there's going to be some real nice opportunities to back or fade having the Jazz at home for this long homestand. And AEOD got the Clippers at plus 1,100. Nice job. All right, let's take a look at this. Oh, we did this already. The total, we did that. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for Clippers Jazz. 2,838 tickets in. 61% of the tickets, 87% of the cash on the Jazz. 51% of the tickets, 53% cash on the under. Take it away for us, Darryl. Clippers, Jazz.
Yeah, I think the angle here is going to be Jazz first half. Because your worst scoring quarters for the Clippers are first and second quarters. And your highest scoring quarters for the Jazz are your first and second quarters. Right? So maybe people are looking at the angle that they are off on a back-to-back and get those tired legs. At this case, this is a back-to-back travel, right? So that's from our man Ski. That's one of those angles that you look at and be like, yeah, man, this is the worst position for a team to be in on a back-to-back travel. So you get up, you beat Portland, but you go from Portland to Utah. Now, that's not a long flight. You know what I'm saying? They're literally right next door. So it's not like it's the longest flight, but it is still a back-to-back travel. I just honestly believe that this is a game the Jazz can win. I'm just afraid of that line, so I'd cut it in half. I would cut it in half here. And I would just take the strongest quarter versus the weakest quarter.
Don't you want Portland's legs to be tired in the fourth quarter as part of your action?
What we've seen from the Clippers, though, is that they can grind it out and come back. I'm not going to really doubt any team, man, who could come back and grind it out that we're losing by 20 points. Now, maybe that's just kind of, in some cases, this is today's NBA now. Teams can grind it out and get out of that. But we've seen that happen more than once with the Clippers, especially last year. On the same situation where they've had a back-to-back, they were losing by a lot and come back and win that game. Get on a plane, travel, and do the exact same thing. And I just think that's a good roster, that you've got some depth there and a really good coach that knows how to coach them out of bad situations. And the Jazz is going to move fast, right? So then, yeah, maybe you do have those legs that's tired in the second half. But for right now, I cannot completely knock a squad who was able to come out of a hole like they did and win that game.
The bench was spectacular. Storm and Norman obviously is a bone to pick with the Blazers. He went off. The bench goes 9 of 13 from 3 in that game. 9 of 13 from 3. I'm going to back. I think the Jazz just take care of business.
Wow.
They take care of business.
I think the safer play, and it's just looking at what they've done as of late. I mean, the Clippers just don't score that many first half points, right? Right now, Clippers are last in the league. Last in the league in first half scoring with an average of 52.8. Last 3, they've had 54. In their last game, they had 53 against Portland, right? Utah, my God, Utah is 6th in the league. Right now, putting up 59.8 points in the first half. Last one, 60 points. Now, this is where there's a difference. Second half points per game. Clippers go from last in the league to the middle of the pack. Right? Last in the league to the middle of the pack. And Utah is still kind of right there. They actually go down a little. Utah sitting at 55.8. Last one put up 47, while the Clippers put up 65. So with all that said, I just think the stronger quarters for these guys is the Jazz, and the weakest quarters, or the strongest half is the first half for the Jazz, and the weakest half for the Jazz is the second half.
Yeah, I think this is smash and grab. I'm going to be on Jazz first half full game.
What's that number? I'm going to make that play right now. I'm going to make it official.
All right, which quarter?
First half. Jazz first half.
I like it. All right, let's grab it for you right now. Jazz first half. I'm going to ride with this.
I've got -4. I'm making that official. I've got -4 at -105. Jazz first half. That's an official play for me.
Do you want 3.5 for show purposes at -115 or 4 at -105?
We can do that. I'm just telling you what I've played. We can do that. But I'm Jazz first half -4 is what I got. What's the line if you get a -4 with your book?
Well, personally, I will get it at -110, but you can get it at -105 for show purposes.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Darryl is in on Jazz first half -4 at -105. I like it. This is going to be fun. It's going to be a fun game. All right, let's roll. Andrew G says Clip Show might just take the night off is what I'm taking from this. That's what we're obviously putting our money on. That was a lot of energy. And this is a Jazz team that needs to step up. Losers of 5 straight. Second game of a 6-game homestand. I'm looking forward to focus on the Jazz at home here over this homestand, see what kind of money we can make. Let's move on. We have 2 games left on the board. Next up, 10 p.m. Eastern, Indiana Pacers, 12-8, 5-4 on the road. Sacramento Kings, 10-9, 6-4 at home. We already had, and by the way, Dan Kelly's saying that both teams in that Jazz spot, both teams playing their 5th game in 8 days. Rayhan says, I'm on the Kings heavy. Rayhan says, only play of the day. Dan Kelly says, Kings in the get-right spot. I will sell points. Kings by double digits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, wow. Rand saying Indy 4th game in 6 nights, sleepy spot. Indy 27th in field goal percentage, 25th in the points in the paint. Rayhan getting more confidence, seeing what Dan Kelly is on. Ooh-wee. This is fun. We already heard Spenny talk about this game because of the massive trade that happened last year. And Dan even mentioned it. Dan mentioned it a couple weeks ago. One of the rare spots where it actually benefited both squads. Indiana 3-2 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 103.1 possessions a game. Starchild on Kings second half. LJF Midtown Kings over first quarter. Sacramento 2-3 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 103.70 possessions a game. Both teams playing at fast paces. Let's take a look here. We talked about the Cavs. I mean, both teams are getting 10 more possessions a game than the Cavs. That's crazy over the last 5. 10. Let's take a look at the line history here for Pacers Kings. We have the Kings opening up at -3.5. Now they're -4. From a totals perspective, opening up at 239, up to 242.5. Wow. I mean, that seems a little much. 7,148 tickets in. This is the third most bet game on the board. Sixers Cavs most bet. Grizzlies Timberwolves second most. This is third. 67% of the tickets and 96% of the cash is on the Kings. Only a half point move towards them. 77% of tickets and 92% cash on the over. Pacers coming off their second win in 3 games, 116-115 at the Lakers on Monday. This is their third game in 4 days. Kings coming off their third straight loss, 122-117 at home to the Suns on Monday. Take it away for us, Darryl. Pacers Kings.
Yeah, this is one of these games right now. I make that official. Sacramento Kings first quarter -1. Sacramento Kings first quarter -1. Some of these have just really been biting me in the ass, right? But I think this is an exciting game and a game that I really want to enjoy watching. So I want to kind of get my money in and get out with it. Right now, Indy first quarter, man, 25 points. We saw this happen in their last game where they just really made a comeback, and Indy had played against the Lakers. That game, Indy lost first quarter to the Lakers. It was 29-32, right? Indy lost that first half, but you saw them explode in the fourth quarter, right? I think this is a spot here to where we know that we've got one player on the Pacers that's getting really famous right now for what he's doing with his assists. I haven't never played it as of yet, and I probably won't get there because it's probably too late. Sacramento is giving you 30 points in the first quarter. Indy's giving you 25. Sacramento's giving you 32 points in the second quarter for a total of about 60 points altogether. A little over that. There's sitting right now, Jimmy. Sitting right now, as far as first half points, Sacramento is second in the league. Second in the league. Indy is 21st in the league in first half points. First quarter points. Sacramento, 12th in the league at 29, just right around 30. And you've got Indy, who was still last in the league. I think you're going to see some competition here, first quarter, first half. I really want to get in and get out here. It's kind of tricky, though, because as of late, Sacramento's actually gone down a little. As of late, in their last 3, they've given you 24 points, last one, 26, where Indiana in their last 3 has given you 27, and in the last one, 29. So they're kind of going opposite ways. But this is a statement game for both teams. I think you're going to get best efforts on both sides because of the trades. I like Sacramento first quarter here. I think you're going to have a really good fan base backing up this home team right now. I like Sacramento -1 first quarter. I stepped on it already. That's the plan I'm going to get. Then I'm going to sit back and enjoy this game.
The first quarter, by the way, I'm a little surprised with all the money on Sacramento. The market hasn't moved towards them. The -1's -115, -1.5, -105. Which one do you want?
I'm going for a push here.
Okay.
Now, you don't think from 3.5 to 4.5 that's a legitimate move?
But it's not 4.5 at Pinnacle. So that's sort of what it moved to 4.5 at Bet365, but they're slow to the take. Here at Pinnacle, the Pacers +4 is juiced. You can get the -4 at -103.
Yeah, so, man, that's telling.
So I just need to wait. Like I'm going to sit with this because I hear a lot of great cappers thinking Sacramento smashes here. But
yeah,
I would like to see a sign from the market that they're concerned, and Bet365 being concerned doesn't play as much as if Pinnacle was.
Yeah, that's exactly the reason why I'm on the first quarter. Because Indiana isn't going to come to a solid start, if you will. They just don't. But you can't expect Sacramento to make some points in the first quarter.
LJ on Sabonis, a 7 or more assists. One of the things that Pistol P. Loshak always talks about is the red flag when Pinnacle is giving you the best line on a spot. That makes him think he's going to lose for sure. Like he hates hearing that. Right now, Pinnacle is giving you the best line on the Sacramento Kings. So I'm just gonna watch it, and I hear what you guys are saying. I'm gonna sit with this for a little longer. Billy Friedrich looking at Kings first half -2. Everybody saying Kings, Kings, Kings.
Yeah, give me the first quarter. Let me get in and get out. I mean, I should almost make that I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is play for the first quarter. I'm really confident in the first quarter. I do, but I'm still saying give me the push. So I'm talking on both sides of my mouth here.
No,
I took the -1, but I think it's a solid first quarter showing for the Kings. I like that play.
I do too. I think it makes a lot of sense. Our man Leonard asking about the total. Yeah, the total's gone up 3.5 points from the Pinnacle opener, 239 to 242.5. And then Dan Kelly, I'm just going to, from my notes, he's on the Pacers first half team total under. Pacers.
I'm just saying this game, home by 7.19, total on this 247. Shootout.
Yeah. And Ray Charles says total of 242.5, going big on player props. Johnny Gunn says everyone wants the Kings headline isn't moving. That's going to keep me off of it at this point for more study. Let's talk about the final game on the board. Great work from Darryl. These Wednesdays are monstrous. Darryl on Wednesdays, Dutch Boy Fresh on Fridays. We're getting a ton of work. These guys, thank you. Hopefully it calms down a little bit for us on these Wednesdays. Portland Trailblazers 11-10, 7-5 on the road. Lakers 7-12, 5-6 at home. Crypto.com Arena, Los Angeles, California. Portland 1-4 over their past 5, playing at a pace at 95.61 possessions a game. Lakers 3-2, playing at a pace at 105.0 possessions a game. Lakers have won 3 of their last 5 games. Don't ask who they beat, but they've won 3 of their last 5. All of those wins coming against the San Antonio Spurs. Coming in off a 116-115 loss at home to the Pacers on Monday. Blazers on the second half of the back-to-back after falling apart last night in the fourth quarter. 118-112 home loss to the Clippers. Clippers outscored by 19. 19 in the fourth quarter. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have the Blazers opening up as 5.5-point dogs. The Lakers have taken 6 cents, but it opened up -5.5, -105, now -5.5, -111. We get to the total here, opening up at 225. They've taken 9 cents here, the total to the under. Take a look at the cash flow here. We have 2,686 tickets in. 62% of tickets, 60% of cash on Portland. I guess that's why the line isn't moving at this point. 64% of tickets, 81% of cash on the over. And it's dropped a little bit. Take it away here for us.
No. Fuck this game. Jimmy, why do you do this to me? For real, man.
Schedule. I shouldn't have put this game past.
No. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. What are we doing? What in the entire fuck are we doing? No, I'm not playing this game. I didn't even cap it. I promise you. I didn't even want to take a deep dive into this game at all. There's no way in God's green earth that I'm going to take the Lakers -5.5. No way. And no way I'm betting Portland Trailblazers. So no, I don't see any interest. I don't have any interest. I don't want any interest in this game, even though I'll watch it. But as far as putting money on the game, no, I don't want to be that invested in the game. I don't care about this game at all. But I'll tell you this, because I know you're going to probably try to find some angle in it. You like bum fights. You do.
I do.
But no, not today. Not today, Satan. Not today.
I prefer bum fights when there's only a few fights. You know, and I'm like, oh, look
at
those bum
and this one here. Right, exactly. We've got too many games. So I didn't even cap it. But I'll tell you this. I did step on Toronto -2.5.
Okay.
I've made that official. Toronto -2.5.
I like it. It's really easy to be a fan of this basketball team. I tell you how much, man. Toronto, let's see what we can get you here. Full game on the Raptors, except for the name of the team. I guess that's the only thing that still sucks. See what we're getting here. Here we go. Get you -2, -108. -2, -108. I want in. I want in on that. So Darryl, Raptors -2, -108. All right, there we go. Dan Kelly's in there is doing a great job. He sure is. I'm looking forward to see what he does with Team Canada. after they lost to the Czech Republic to get into the Olympics. That was just fucking horrific. All right, let's take a look at the action here. I want in on the under in Sixers Cavs. I don't want under 210, and it's still 210. Okay, I want in on it. Magic +6. I'm very interested in.
Interesting.
I don't give a shit what the spread is. Celtics first half -5, full game -9, and I agree with them. I think it's a smash spot. I want the under in the Wizards Brooklyn Nets game. I don't believe 229.5 right now. I find it very difficult to believe that the advanced models and supercube computers would be 6.5 points off. I just don't believe it. Now, this has not worked for me. Playing God and outsmarting, it's stupid. It's not worked, but I would like to test it again.
Hey, man, to each his own.
I want to test it again. I just Mike M. Pimp Slap play today. New York Knicks +6. We have Darryl interested in the Knicks first half.
Yeah, I'm interested in that, man. I really am. I might get there a little sooner than later. I just want to look at a few things, but I might have a lot of plays coming. Seriously.
I look forward to it. I'll be keeping my eye out for it. Memphis Timberwolves, we are off. Darryl's moved on the Raptors -2.
I got 2.5.
Says we can do better. You think it'll go higher?
Oh, 2.5?
Oh my God, the tang of the stroke Monday. Well,
what?
Chris Letang. I've just been. All I've done is hammered against that contract they signed him to. So I won't. I feel bad for him. That's awful. Spurs Thunder. We are off. I want the Rockets. I just got to figure out how.
And that's kind of ballsy right there, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, that is straight. Let your nuts hang on that.
Just my nuts on a dresser.
Just your nuts, bro. Pause.
Jazz. Darryl moved on the first half -4 at -105. I want in. I'm doubling up on the Jazz first half full game. Darryl's on the Kings -1 first quarter -115. Dan Kelly's on the Pacers first half team total under. I need to study it a little more.
Yeah.
And LJ saying Rockets first half best bet.
Oof. Oh, that's a homer though, right? LJ can't be doing that.
You can't let me have any confidence in this move. Jesus.
No, the brother good, man.
Well,
LJ get it though, man. He knows when to take him. He does. He knows when to take him, when to stay away from him.
Darryl, you're a class act. I'm looking forward to watching your record continue to rise. You were spectacular last Wednesday. I cherish these Wednesdays together. Please follow our guy Darryl on Twitter and support him at It's Darryl. Selfless capper, great friend, and love these opportunities, man. Go out there, get that cash, and any last words for the cappers here supporting the show?
Thanks again, man. It is always a pleasure to cap with you all. I am going to make sure I got my power working on my camera. Be back in full action with you on next week.
I love it. There he is. It's Darryl in the house. Let's move into college basketball. I did make a decision. I was like, I had a fixed amount of time, and I was like, I knew I'd set a nice table with my notes in NBA, but I was like, I could put the extra work in NBA, or I could hammer college basketball with you. Our guy, Dabby Cab, on his way to Lake Charles, Louisiana, with the boys in the Slaughtermobile as we speak right now. Schnizzle in there. They're going to be doing it up at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles. Nice facility. There's Chief. So I thought, what an opportunity I have here. Let's pick the spots and study them and bet them before I get here. So these are all locked in. I had 10 games I was looking at. 4 I decided I wanted to move on. So let's cap these 4 games and do it together. Chris Rock says college is rigged. Well, we're working with it. 12-7, 63.2% plus 4.3 units ROI plus 22.63%, average line -110. And I thought this was a wonderful opportunity to hammer college basketball with you guys. So let's get right to work. We start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Big East, Big 12 battle. Kansas State Wildcats, undefeated this year, coming off that win in the Cayman Islands Classic at the Butler Bulldogs, who did not look good in the battle for Atlantis, but you can say that it was against stiffer competition. Our guy, Torrey Coker, is on Kansas State first half. Torrey Coker, we're right near the review portion of the show, so we're getting close to the review portion of the show. Let's talk about the situation here. I can tell you first off, I'm on Butler. I'm on Butler -3 at -110. And the line and the market I found extremely interesting in this spot. And I'm looking forward to talk about the first we'll talk about line history, then we'll talk about the cash, and then we'll talk about the X's and O's. Again, this game is at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Let's move over to the line history here in this one. Kansas State, Butler. This opened up with Butler -2, but it quickly went to -1. The initial look, I think people were surprised at the line on Kansas State. But then money started coming in on Butler, and you could tell the markets moved very quickly. This -3, in fact, is juiced to -112. It's come down from a high of -115 on the -3 at 9:58 a.m. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 136 and has dropped all the way down to 131.5. Good. What's happening? It is great to see you. So, Torrey Coker on Kansas State first half. Let's take a look at the cash flow now in this one. They have given, Sports Insight has given Butler line value. Not much, but about, I'd say 18% line value. There's 5,272 tickets to study here. 39% of the tickets, 63% of the cash is on Butler. When I was capping this game, I thought, oh, God, this has razor sharp picks, gambler's first glance written all over it. 88% of the tickets and 97% of the cash on the under, and it's dropped 4.5 points. The market very concerned about all this money coming in on the under. We're at Hinkle Fieldhouse for this, a spot where Butler's 3-0 and have looked really good. So Kansas State comes in off winning the Cayman Islands Classic, 61-59 win over. Look at FanDuel's got -4 right now. Coming off a 61-59 win over LSU last week. The public is on Kansas State. They're going to be on Kansas State. And right now, at this point, with a decent sample size to look at, you have 59% of the tickets on Kansas State. The book's very concerned about the Butler cash, and good just telling us that's at FanDuel -4. The Wildcats were down at halftime. Look, the Wildcats are a good team. Keontae Johnson is a tough senior. Marquise Noel, another tough senior. Johnson also 50% from deep, 6 rebounds a game. He's good. And the Wildcats do a lot of things that you want. And we just watched them succeed in the Cayman Islands Classic. John Todd says, Butler has too many injuries, Jimmy. Tell that to the books who are scared as fuck. Tell that to them, because they're opening up their arms to as much Kansas State money as possible. And everybody wants to bet Kansas State after watching them win the Cayman Islands Classic. So Wildcats shooting 45.6% from the field, 14th highest free throw percentage in the country. There's so much to like with Kansas State. Why are the books begging for Kansas State money? Butler comes in having lost 2 of 3 at the Battle for Atlantis. The Battle for Atlantis was much stiffer competition than the Cayman Islands Classic. They finished it in disappointing fashion in a 76-61 loss at versus NC State. And it was a pick'em. It was at a pick'em. Look at Ed Searfoss, -2.5, -145 a bookmaker. Bookmaker doesn't want anybody to bet unless they have the alternate line. Are they giving you an alternate line? Because if they're not, that's a book that doesn't want more money on a certain side if they're going to leave the juice at -145. Okay, so Butler took it in the chin. They got smacked in the mouth. I kind of like that. Oh, sorry, mistake. That's minus 145 on the money line. It's all good, Ed. It's all good. So Butler minus 145 on the money line. That's all good. So the Bulldogs went into the Bahamas and got smoked by Tennessee. They shoot 21.7% from three. This is a team that's good. They were 31.9% from the field against Tennessee. They shot poorly against NC State. Look, they didn't play well there. Now they're going home, and there's going to be a bounce back. Looking back at this spot, Butler first half probably now, after talking it out with you guys, was probably the spot. 73.7 points per game, shooting 48.9% from the field, and get to come home and bounce back. That's probably the spot. Let me just look at this now and see what it is. I think it might be a double up spot for me. Let's see what I'm getting first half. I just feel like you have this Wildcats team flying high, feeling good about themselves. I think they're going to come crashing back to earth here. Hinkle Fieldhouse, tough place to play. Billy Friedrich saying that they've been off for the 1 week. Yeah, they won that tournament on the 23rd last Wednesday. I'm thinking of doubling up here on the first half -1. There's Stimmy OG in the house. I'm on Butler. This has razor sharp picks, Gambler's First Glance written all over it. Let's move on to game 2 of my 4 games of action. ACC Big Ten Challenge. Number 25 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes and number 17 Duke Blue Devils. We're at Cameron Indoor Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. I moved on Duke first half -3 at -110. I think this screams bounce back spot for Duke. And we get to see now, look, Ohio State went to the Maui Invitational and looked pretty good, right? So, they played off of their home floor. But now they're playing a true road game in a tough place to play. The line has moved towards Duke, not heavy. It opened up at -5.5, and it was another spot. Sorry, it opened up -5.5. It was another spot where the very first bets came in on Ohio State at this number, and then money started coming in on Duke. So 5.5 went to 5, went back to 5.5. Is now at 6. Now this 6 is probably a 5.5 because it's juiced to -116 at Ohio State. And look, Ohio State can come into this and cash a full game. I'm focusing on Duke bouncing back in the first half. This total's gone from 137 to 135.5. And look at that. Lee Davis telling us Shea is listed as out tonight. We all have to remember when something doesn't make sense in the marketplace, you have to dig deeper and find out why that is. I hope with this show we got a lot of you off of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, maybe you still want the Thunder, and that's fair, but get it at a better price. Don't get stuck with a shit price when the market doesn't make sense. That was good work by us. I hope we saved some of you guys some money or got you a better line. All right, let's go over to the cash flow here in this big one. We have 4,207 tickets in. They've given you the slightest of line value. Dana Delp. Ooh, wow. Dana Delp going to be a big one tonight. North Carolina. Ooh-wee. That's going to be really fun. That's going to be really fun, Dana. Do it up. Do it up. All right, here for Duke, Ohio State. 65% of tickets, 65% of cash on Duke. You have 57% of tickets, 70% of cash on the over. Ohio State comes in off their second straight win, 80-73 victory over Texas Tech, close out the Maui Invitational. Justice Suing was excellent back in Hawaii, where he's from, goes off for 33. This is their first true road game. Bryce Sensabaugh a 4-star recruit, freshman. He looks really good. 52.5% from the field, 15.8 points per game. Looks really good. Duke comes in off a shocking 75-56 loss to Purdue at the Phil Knight Legacy as 1.5-point favorites on Sunday. They shot 36.2% from the field and 10.5% from 3. 10.5 from 3. Filipowski, freshman center. Flip looks like the real deal. Jeremy Roach goes for 21 against Xavier. This has just bounced back, written all over it for me. Written all over it. I'm on Duke first half -3. By the way, coin making a move on Lipscomb live under 159.5. So there's bet number 2 for me, already locked in. Duke first half -3, -110. Let's move on to a game I was really excited to talk to Dabby Cab about. SMU Mustangs, Texas A&M Aggies, Reed Arena in College Station, Texas. Mustangs 3-3 have played a road game already this year. Aggies 4-2 and 2-0 at home. Let's take a look at the line history in this one. Being a legit move towards SMU. SMU opening up at +13. They're now at +11.5. That 11.5 is juiced to -110. From a total standpoint, and that's a legit juice at Pinnacle. Then the total opened up at 136.5 and has jumped up to 138. Cash-wise here, let's see if it follows with this love of SMU here, and it does. Just 963 tickets in. 72% of the tickets on SMU and 94% of the cash. I think this market will continue to move towards SMU. Rez Mob in the house. What up, Rez? SMU comes in off their second win in 3 games, 75-50 at home over Lamar as 18-point favorites on Sunday. This game means a ton to SMU. Traveling to Reed Arena at College Station. And look, Phelps was excellent in that win over Lamar. I like the kid. 19 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 4 steals, 2 block shots. SMU had 9 steals. They forced 15 turnovers. I am on SMU first half. Let's see what Texas A&M does. They're coming in off their second straight win, 82-66 at DePaul on Friday. Tyrese Radford went for a career-high 31. A career high. Is he going to do that again here? Wade Taylor, 21, 5, 6 steals. He's very good. Taint. What is the Taint play? Are you asking what it is? I've not seen our guy yet. I'd love to. Nice Red Mob back-to-back 3-teamers. I love it. So I think SMU has the ability. This game means so much to them to come into Texas A&M and play them hard. Do I think it lasts 40 minutes? I don't care. I need them to come in for 20. This team feels good about themselves after a 25-point win over Lamar. Look, I know Lamar is not Texas A&M. I think they can go in there, and I think that the pressure's on the Aggies to deliver, and if the Mustangs can get a couple quick buckets, and I believe that Phelps is capable, more than capable of playing big in a situation just like this. I'm on the first half +7 at -110 for SMU. Let's take a look at what the line history is. Sorry, we looked at the line. I just want to see if it's moved at all. I would love to see 6.5s out there. It would make me feel very good. Let's see for SMU. No. Yes. Well, 6.5 at Dicey Books. But the 7 is -116 at Pinnacle. I like seeing that. I expect this will be 6.5. I like this spot. That's bet number 3 for me in college basketball. My final bet on the board, Boston College Eagles 5-2, playing their first road game of the season. At Nebraska Cornhuskers, 4-3, 3-0 at home. Billy Friedrich, yeah, that would be great. My voice just broke. It's been a long show. A lot of talking. Billy Friedrich says, I'd love to see a better's pep talk for a team if they have them first half. It'd be very funny. Raven in the desert in the house. Nice to see you, Raven. Okay, I'm on Nebraska. I got them -5.5 here. I know that Nebraska's hurt a lot of people on the spread, not me. That one game when they completely fell apart in the second half, I lost a full game on them. But I starting to feel comfortable with this squad, starting to get this squad. Let's take a look at them. They open up -5.5, -108. They got up to -6. It's come back to -5.5, but that 5.5 is juiced to -113. From a total standpoint, opened up at 131.5, is now at 131. Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln, Nebraska. So both Boston College and Nebraska have been bad against the spread this year. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. This one is the late game, 9:15. It pops off. And 1,216 tickets in, 66% of tickets, 81% of cash on Nebraska. There's Lamont Williams in the house. Boston College took third place in the Paradise Jam last week, and they're coming off a 53-49 win at home over Rhode Island on Sunday. There's been a lot of celebrating for this team. A lot of pictures of them celebrating. Now they play their first true road game of the year. And my question is this. Are they fully focused on this game at Nebraska, or are they thinking about heading to Duke afterwards? Because that's a big game for them. Is this one? Do they care enough about this one? Then they are home versus Villanova. Mackay Ashton Langford and Jaden Zachary give this Eagles backcourt a formidable backup. Or back guard play. And their defense is strong. We've seen that throughout. Nebraska comes in off a comfortable 75-58 win over Florida State on Sunday to snap a 2-game losing streak. I know that you could easily say, look, Florida State's absolute trash. But it was a win that they needed to get. They needed to get the win, feel better about themselves. Now come on home and beat Boston College. Derek Walker goes for 20 points and 13 boards. This is a team that can play big on the glass. And they won by, double digits, and they went 6 of 24 from 3. They're better than that. And they won very comfortably. And you have Fred Hoiberg expected to take this team to the next level. They're undefeated at home this year. And I think they can take out Boston College. The question is, can they beat them by 5.5, beat them by margin? And I'm saying that they can. Tori Coker thinking about Marshall first half -2. So there's my 4 bets for tonight's NCAA action. And I think I'm going to add Butler first half. Butler -3 full game. I'm going to add Butler first half. I'm double up there. Duke first half -3 at -110. SMU first half +7 at -110. Nebraska -5.5 at -110. There you have it. There's our show. Robert Franklin looking at Rice Prairie View over 148. Let's review all action. And don't forget, Lamont Williams, max betting Atlanta money line and the Spurs money line. I think that there was good work we did talking out that dicey situation in Thunder Spurs, and we figured out the culprit. So don't forget, Dan Hero is giving us a look at the Hero Challenge. Tom Kim, top 10. But it's imperative to see where you get that price. DraftKings -120. Same bet at MGM is -220. There's only 20 guys in the event. Billy Friedrich has Western Carolina +2, Central Arkansas +4, UTEP moneyline, and UNCW Coastal Carolina over 130.5. Pimp Slap play number 2. Pimp Slap play number 1 is Knicks +6. And he's also giving us number 2. Copy and paste that action. All right. I've got very important decisions to go make and bets to add. Let's review all action here. In NHL, I'm on the Red Wings -1 at +119. I'm on the under 6.5 in Rangers Ottawa, but Halak is going to be the goaltender. Let's see what it's done now. Wow. Oh, I only moved 10 cents to the over. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'm just going to do a quick game log here for Halak.
Halak's elite, Jimmy. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
I won't, Jose. I won't. Let's take a look at Yaroslav Halak. 37 years young, man.
Could you put some more like guttural in it when you say his first name? Yaroslav. Some throat in there.
No, I'm going to keep my throat at bay here. Last 2 games, actually, he's looked fine in his 4 games. Remember, one thing about Halak was he looked very good in the first half of last year, and then he fell apart in the second half. Mike M says, big lean to the Rangers tonight. Let's see what it's done to the money line. See what it's done to the money line. Has it changed it that drastically? I mean, Halak's been fine. So take a look quickly here. And a huge move. Yeah. There's been since the announcement, an 11-cent move towards the Ottawa Senators. Wow. Dallin Stewart Skinner confirmed. So I'm also on the Sharks team total over 2.5 at +110. I'm off of Oilers, Blackhawks. So 4 games out there. Did I miss one? Oh, yeah, because I'm on the under 6.5 and I'm on the Red Wings. And then I'm adding the Sharks team total over 2.5 plus money. All right, let's move on to NBA. Sixers, Cavs, I'm going under 210. Magic plus 6. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. Play today. Celtics first half in full game. Butler has not gone to Boston. Has not traveled to Boston. Isaiah Scurry in the house. What up, Isaiah? Nunya, yeah. Well, I'll go over them here in a second. I'm going to be on the under 229.5 in Washington, Brooklyn. A pimp slot play today is Knicks plus 6. He's won 6 straight. I'm interested in the Knicks, but I saw not flush on the Bucks first quarter, first half, which is going to give me pause. Grizzlies, Timberwolves, we stayed off. Drills on the Raptors -2, -108. I'm very interested in the Raptors. Spurs, Thunder, we stayed off. I'm moving on the Rockets, figuring out the right spot. Probably first half, probably correlate with my guy, LJ. Bulls, Suns off. Drills on the Jazz, first half -4. I'm doubling up on the Jazz, first half full game. Drills on the Kings, first quarter -1 at -115. Dan Kelly's on the Pacers, first half team total under. Need to look longer at that. Blazers, Lakers, I'm off. And then we've gone over college basketball, but I'll do it again for my guy Nunya. I'm on Butler -3. I'm adding first half -1.5. I'm on Duke first half -3 at -110. SMU first half +7. And Nebraska -5.5, -110. And then Billy Friedrichs on Western Carolina +2, Central Arkansas +14, UTEP money line, and UNCW Coastal Carolina over 130.5. Pimp slot play of the day is University of Pennsylvania -5. That's pimp slot play of the day number 2. There you have it. There's our show for today. Thank you guys so much for supporting us here at Pub Sports Radio. We have nothing without you. A very fun show tomorrow. Thursday night football, beauty game. We got NHL, only one game in NBA, but we will hit the NCAA basketball hard. And NCAA football doesn't start up till Friday, so we have a day before that. Thank you guys so much for support. Nunya, Bo Jackson, Robert Franklin, Isaiah Scurry, Mike M. Start the pimp slot play today. Billy Friedrich, Lamont Williams, Torrey Coker, Coyne, Lamont Williams, Raven in the Desert, Rez Mob, Xavier Oliver, Jake Burns, Saturate, Dana Delp. Dana, have a spectacular time. What a fun game that is, going to North Carolina game. Lee Davis, Stimmy OG, Ryan Mueller, Jay Peasy, JT, Ed Searfoss, John Todd, Dan Kelly, Leonard Porsche Jr., good. Danny Lopez, Chief, AOD, Chris Rock, LJ from H-Town. Thank you guys so much for your support. Spenny Penny Bombs. Let's go out there and get that fucking money. How about that? We go out there and get that fucking cash. Jay Vegas on an interesting look. Zion under 25.5. He's going to have to do a lot tonight. Let's go out there and get the fucking cash, man. Let's have a big week. I can't wait to be here Thursday and Friday with you guys. Let's go out there and get paid in full. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you to Jose Buchetti. Does such a great job producing on behalf of Jeff Slaughter and all of us. And think about Slaughter and the boys over at Lake Charles, Louisiana. Anybody in that neighborhood, head down to the Golden Nugget. Run with our guys. But in the meantime, let's get that fucking money. Leche. Hey, los bookmakers.